Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, live from the Comcast Business Studios. 97.5, The Fanatic. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas. This is Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5, The Fanatic, and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hello. Is this thing on? Yes.
It is on.
I'm back. And the Sixers, Johnny. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they waited till you exited the country.
Yeah, thanks a lot. By the way, they were talking the country that I was at. It was amazing. The Sixers off season has been going crazy. Phillies, they dropped 2 or 3 against the Braves. They're about to begin a 3-game series with the Dodgers. We'll talk about that, what they should do at the deadline, a whole lot more. It's Kincade and Salciunas. I'm back.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
Stars in cities, especially like Philadelphia, they are always on the map, and we should expect more winning out of them.
And we'll go to the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. I am a believer that your best player, I think there is also a responsibility as the team spokesperson.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Tuesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, it's good to see you.
Welcome back to the States.
Yes, it is good to be back.
You were in the parking lot like 30 seconds before me.
Yes, I got here bright and early.
Which always freaks me out, by the way, because there's no way in our parking lot. So when I turn around the corner and all of a sudden I see lights.
And I have a black car, too, so it's kind of like hidden in the dark.
Like, what's going on?
Where I park, it's hidden behind a tree a little bit, so it probably freaks you out. But no, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed today.
You were.
Because I'm back to work. I had so much fun. I always get depressed when I leave Lithuania because it's where my heritage is, so I always get pretty depressed leaving that place. But it's pretty easy to come back to a sports scene like Philadelphia right now. And part of me was jealous that while I was gone, you guys got the incredible stories, everything that built up to what the Sixers did, and we'll dive into every single signing that they have made so far. The Phillies have the announcement of the 7 All-Stars. You had the Phillies-Braves series to react to. The Eagles are just kind of there. We're just waiting for a big season of the Eagles.
15 days to the first practice.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yes.
It's right around the corner. How was it while I was gone? I need to know before I even give you my opinion. Was this place buzzing or what?
I think the excitement over the Sixers was huge. And Connor, I think you'd back that up completely. There was a ton of great energy about the Sixers. I think it was the idea of what Daryl Morey would put together. And Connor and I talked a little bit about that. The idea is that, and I said it yesterday, I did not think, Connor, that when we talked about the moves that potentially going to be made and everything, I didn't think Daryl Morey was going to be able to put together as many good pieces as he did. I see 4 upgrades, 4 exits, 4 upgrades, the players that they upgraded for.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Tobias Harris is gone. Plain and simple, number one.
Right. And
Paul George is better than Tobias Harris.
Right.
Kelly Oubre, I love that he's back. I don't want him to start on this team.
I don't either, but it looks like he probably will.
We'll see. I mean, look, the offseason's not over. They still need to acquire a lot more players because they need to actually be able to field the team. But, you look at it, you go, to your point, John, they improved basically everywhere. Backup center has been improved, and I will talk about Paul Reed at some point.
And we like Paul. He was very nice. Good to see him last year.
He just wasn't a great basketball player.
Well, Paul Reed moves along, and then you get Andre Drummond, you're better.
Right.
Paul George for Tobias Harris, you're better.
Yeah.
And then, they talk about Heat culture and leaving like 15, 20 million on the table?
Unbelievable. When I saw, I remember I actually was in my hotel room and I just went to Twitter real quick right when Woj tweeted it out. Like I got the Woj bomb, the Woj alert. And I'm going, oh, this is awesome. And then as I continued to read, I saw that he turned down money. And is that a credit to Daryl Morey? Is that a credit to Caleb Martin, reading the tea leaves in Miami? And
is it a better opportunity? Well, look, the Sixers have a better opportunity to win than
absolutely,
Miami.
Yeah, because Jimmy Butler's on his way out at some point.
And with knowing what's already on the Sixers roster, Caleb Martin looked at it and was like, "Okay, that Sixers roster is distinctly better."
Right,
but still, I'm shocked.
And it's amazing. Like I saw a tweet yesterday from one of our great listeners, and I just tweeted out that I'm coming back today. And he said, well, they're still not as good as the Celtics. And I can't worry about that just yet. It's
No, don't
only
worry
July
about it right
9th. They still have a lot of time to be able to improve this roster.
Are they better than everybody else in the East?
Yes.
I think so.
They are, because you
I
have,
think so.
you have
Again,
Joel
on
Embiid
paper.
and Tyrese Maxey already,
Right.
and you got better with Paul George. You got better with all the other pieces that you acquired. And for anybody that thinks maybe Caleb Martin isn't as good, he literally turned down $15 to $20 million. And I think he probably turned it down, not because he wants to live in the city of Philadelphia. He probably wants to play for a winner. And if a player in the NBA, it's one thing for us radio lunatics to look at paper on July 9th and try to talk about whether or not the Sixers are one of the top two teams of the Eastern Conference. It's another thing for a player in the league that talks to players, that watches film, that studies the game so much more than we do. For him to look at this roster and look at what's going on in Philadelphia to go, I want to go there for $20 million less?
Joe Mazzulla, go read Tatum and Brown. Read their comments on Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
Just because I fell into a rabbit hole of, I saw what Joe Mazzulla came up with is, okay, tell me about Caleb Martin. I hear about the playoffs and how much he's respected. Well, he talked about him, and then you see what Tatum and Brown talked about him. That's a nice a really nice acquisition.
Right. They all of a sudden, John, and Connor, I would love to get your input on this. They have a team. And last year, I thought, and I said this a million times, I thought that was the best bench that they have had since the process started, right? It wasn't their best star-studded team. The best team, we all agree, 2019 with Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris and J.J. Redick and Embiid and Ben Simmons. That was the best star-studded team. But in terms of depth, like, you actually had guys that could score, you guys that could actually play defense, you had guys that could start that were coming off the bench. Like, Nico Batum was a guy that could have started in games, but he was coming off the bench. Now, all of a sudden, it's still early, but you're starting to question, all right, can Kelly Oubre be coming off the bench, or is Caleb Martin the guy coming off the bench? Like, you have a sixth man all of a sudden.
I like the defense, Connor. I like the fact that I'm looking at a team that I think can actually D up against some of the better teams in basketball.
Yeah. I mean, you've built a solid team for the needs of what you have to compete against the East with. You really have. Daryl Morey had a plan. He seems to have executed it. The moves they've made have all been on brand for what they've told us they were looking to do and what we all thought they needed to do. Here's where I stand, because it is
I hear
July.
hesitation in
I
your
did
voice.
hear hesitation.
How many times? And this is no knock on Daryl Morey. This is not even a knock on the Sixers organization. This is just what being a Sixers fan is like right now. We've seen them make the right moves before, and we've seen it not work out. Sometimes in cases that feel almost supernatural,
Right.
against the city of Philadelphia. So forgive me if I'm not like gung-ho, this team's amazing, this is going to work out, all of these pieces fit. They do.
That's weird coming from you.
I'm surprised at
From
this.
him.
Because here's what I'm going to say to you, Connor, is a lot of times when we feel like everybody, all three of us, you know how much I can't stand Harden. There's no arguing, and I'll never argue it, that it wasn't the right move.
Right, exactly.
To bring him here. But when Daryl Morey made that right move, he made the right move at gunpoint.
Right.
He made the right move because the organization was being held hostage by a jackass. Whereas these moves was blank slate
He had the freedom to do it.
and a vision. I finally see a Daryl Morey vision for being able to put together a team that I really haven't seen him be able to do.
Right, and it wasn't mid-season acquisitions
Right.
of desperation,
That
to your
makes-
point, being
another
held
thing that makes
gunpoint.
me happy,
Right, like this
too.
is all of a sudden, and that was one of my biggest things. When Daryl Morey first spoke after the season came to an end, he had his exit press conference, and he said, don't judge us off of the roster come game one, judge us on the roster come playoff time. And I rolled my eyes at it because I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing, they've only played X amount of minutes together, they've only played X amount of games together. Like, I'm tired of hearing that excuse, which is an excuse I've been hearing for 6 years when it comes to the Sixers.
It has been.
Every different Sixers team has had that excuse. You don't have that this time, at least right now. They're going to acquire a player at the trade deadline because if they're serious about winning a championship, you're always looking to improve. And we'll talk about that with the Phillies coming up in a minute. But right now, I see a team formulating to start a season, and I freaking love that.
I do too.
There's no question mark of, where is this guy going to end up getting traded to? James Harden was not even showing up to practices. James Harden was not going to play for the Sixers, and I had to have that confusion of what was going to happen before the season started. We had that with Ben Simmons. We've had that way too many times. right now on July 9th, well before the start of the season, I might know who my starting five is and who my key pieces off the bench will be, and that excites me.
What also good is you may know who your starting five is by design, but you know that there's also flexibility for Nick Nurse to be able to say, well, that's our starting five to start.
Absolutely.
And maybe on this night, Kelly Oubre comes off the bench. Maybe on this night, we go to Caleb Martin in a different spot.
Right.
I love the fact that I think Daryl Morey has over-delivered. I was skeptical. I said I was skeptical because I'm going, you got a lot of money. What are you going to be able to do? I believe this roster, if someone had told me this 2 weeks ago, I would have said, you're dreaming that all those dominoes are going to fall into place.
Right.
They did. Daryl Morey, touche. You were right.
He's done an exceptional job. And look, it took
I like the vision of it.
I love
like
it
the
too.
vision.
And it's going to take me 10 minutes to say it. All of this comes down to health, right? Joel Embiid's health,
that's
Paul
assumed.
George's health, which,
Right.
Again, guys, if you've been following the show since we started, both of us were kind of out on the idea of Paul George, not because of the player,
No.
not because of the fit. He fits perfectly. It's just the injury history of Paul George, and couple that with Joel Embiid's injury history. One of my biggest issues with the team last year was when Embiid was out, you sucked. And that's why I wish James Harden was still here last year. This year, if Embiid's out, I have Maxey and Paul George. The concern is, what if both Embiid and George are out at some times, which they probably will be?
Could be.
Is it going to completely handcuff them from making some legit noise in at least seeding, which I know that doesn't necessarily matter anymore, but are they healthy come playoff time? That's the biggest question. I waited 10 minutes to say it.
And I think that's fair. Can I tell you, too, though, is Paul George yesterday on his PG podcast absolutely made another fan of me in the fact that he had every opportunity to do the let's pander to the new fan base thing, and he didn't. He flat out said, let's get this out on the table right off the bat. I wanted to stay in L.A.
Yeah.
L.A.'s my home.
Not surprised.
I love it there. I appreciate the fans there. And if everything had been able to work out that I could have stayed in L.A., I wanted to go to L.A. I love the fact that he began all his comments with that. He didn't feel the need to pander, didn't feel the need to give us a bunch of BS.
Philly was always my first choice.
But when he then talked about the opportunity here,
yeah,
he gushes. He talks about why it's such a great opportunity. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah,
Very excited.
And he's an absolutely perfect fit from a basketball standpoint. And so far, you're starting to see, as you said, John, the vision of Daryl Morey come together. And it's one that should excite every single Sixers fan.
Sure.
The offseason is not done yet, right? There's still a lot of moves that need to be made. They need to fill out a roster. You know, before they've even filled out a roster, they've already moved on from some players. Paul Reed, look, good luck, man. Like that's all I can say.
And we like Paul Reed.
Yeah,
Nobody's
he's a nice guy.
no one's rooting
I just don't
against
think he's a great basketball player.
Correct. Nobody's rooting against Paul Reed.
We had a conversation with some people not that long ago, and I compared Paul Reed to Vince Velasquez.
And I don't think that's unfair.
Has ability, but doesn't know how to pitch. Like Vince Velasquez could throw 99 miles an hour, had movement, but it didn't matter if you were throwing it right down the middle of the plate. It was going to be blasted. Paul Reed had athletic ability. He has a basketball IQ, but he doesn't really know how to play the game of basketball.
You hear Ricky talk about it all the time with young people are like, pitching today in baseball is better than it's ever been. He's like, BS. They're better throwers.
Right.
Not pitchers.
Right.
They're better throwers.
Like Paul
Guys
Skeens
can throw
isn't
it.
just so good because he throws 103 miles an hour. It's
because he knows how to
and he
pitch.
places it in certain spots.
Correct.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of the Phillies.
That's another happy subject that awaited you when you came home.
So, Phil's dropped 2 or 3 against the Braves. Can I just get this out of the way? I'm not panicking over it. Now,
Yeah, we didn't.
Maybe it's easier because I didn't watch it.
It is easier because you didn't watch
I'm
it.
sure that helps.
Because
But
4 out of the 6 games this year, they have been non-competitive with Atlanta.
But in this last series, like, who's playing?
Exactly.
I looked at a box score that had Brandon Marsh batting cleanup. Like, who's actually playing for this Phillies team right now when you have Bryce Harper out, Real Muto out, Kyle Schwarber's out? Like, I can't panic over a team that's missing 3 of their best players on the team.
Well, if you're panicking about the best team in baseball, you're a fool.
Right.
Like, I mean,
absolutely.
at that point, you're a fool. But that does not mean that between now and the 30th of July, this team can't improve.
And they should. And so I want to get into this more. I mean, look, I'm ready to go. I've been out for the last week, right? I'm ready. I'm fired up. I'm ready to talk about all these teams. So the Phillies need to spend big at the deadline. I'm just going to say it right now.
Need.
Because the window is freaking here.
Okay, I got it. We're gonna. This will be the first time, Connor, and I have a feeling that Connor will line up firmly behind you on this one.
No, I don't know if that's true.
I think he will.
I don't know if that's true because we talked a lot about
the fact that you say need. To me, immediately makes me go, nope.
Okay, so
need.
Center field's a mess, right? Whether it's Brandon Marsh at times when he can only face right-handed pitching, that's what the team is telling you. Christian Pache, I'm with you, man. Like it's enough is enough. Johan Rojas could come up. I don't expect Johan Rojas to start slashing 300 and hitting for power, right? Like I expect him to be kind of who he was before he got sent down, which was what we hoped for. A guy that hit around 230 and still played exceptional defense.
Like Bryson Stott.
Right. And we'll get into that. Like the Rojas thing, that who he is who he is. He's a great fielder with not much pop behind his bat, but he can do exceptional things on the base paths as long as his head's into it because he got picked off way too many times before getting sent down. I don't want to rely on he is who he is. I am a greedy millennial son of a bitch. I don't care. Give me more, and there are players that are available, and you have the bullets in your chamber to get players because of the prospects that you finally have that you haven't had for like a decade.
Okay, that's such a great sentence. Because can I write that down? You have prospects in your system that you finally have that you haven't had for a decade. Just note that.
Okay.
Because it is something where this organization has been hampered and hasn't been able to sustain winning because of that fact. So now with the best record in baseball, people are going to say, empty the coffers. Let's get rid of it. No, this is what you did. The idea is to build a system, build a pyramid of talent.
Okay.
Don't start now, if you take from other levels of the talent, I'm fine. You start telling me you're taking 2 or 3 of the crown jewels, bullcrap.
John,
I don't want any parts
for
of
the
it.
next.
I don't want any parts
Let's
of
say
it.
3 years, right? 3 years.
Yes.
Wheeler, Nola, Suarez are going nowhere.
Sanchez is going nowhere either.
Sanchez is going nowhere because they signed the extension.
Right.
You're right. I know Stott's been struggling, but Stott's going nowhere. Turner's going nowhere. Alec Boehm's
Why do
going
you say
nowhere.
Stott's going
Bryce
nowhere?
Harper's going nowhere because he's a part of their plans. So your infield from first base, second base, third base, and shortstop are going nowhere. And that's for the next, I'm just saying 3 years. I'm not even saying 6, 7, 8 years down the line. I'm saying the next 3 years. Nick
Your
Castellanos
infield looks set.
Yeah, Nick Castellanos will be gone at some point. They haven't developed an outfielder in the last 75,000 years.
Schwarber could be gone after next season.
Could be. So you're going to acquire, like if you get Luis Robert, right?
No thanks.
He's here. He's
No
not
thanks.
going anywhere.
No thanks.
Why?
Injury history is horrendous. So immediately I'm not giving up a top young prospect, crown jewel prospect for a guy who gets injured.
How's Andrew
easily.
Painter's injury history?
I'm not giving up Andrew Painter either.
I'd give up anybody.
Not for Robert. No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. And by the way, when you talk about a guy like, we want to know that a guy like Rojas, do you know what they say about Robert? Checks out mentally.
Yeah. Well, his checking out
guess
mentally
what?
could still hit me 30 bombs and still play exceptional defense.
It can, and he can play really, really good defense.
Very
too.
good
But he
defense.
checks out defensively.
Well, maybe in this clubhouse, maybe it's different, John.
I don't want to have to
Who
fix
knows?
somebody here. I don't want to have to fix somebody. No, I'm fine. Give me another options. And you want to talk Cody Bellinger with me? I am listening.
All right, so
I'm listening on Cody Bellinger. I'm not listening on an often injured guy that is in Chicago. Checks out mentally.
And that's fair for you to have that opinion, right?
Right.
I would still go after him, but that's fair for you to have your opinion. But you agree they should improve.
They should improve.
Or they need to improve.
And I also believe that though I don't feel it's a need to move on from Rojas, I absolutely feel there are ways you could improve over what Rojas is giving.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I think that's
I'm not going to
easy.
be I'm not going to be a Rojas Kool-Aid drinker and say, well, you got to keep Rojas, because I think you could take a slight step back in defense and take a huge step forward in offense.
And Cody Bellinger could be one of those names. Here's Jim Bowden, who covers Major League Baseball. He's with CBS, but he does stuff for the MLB Network and
It's good
MLB
dude.
Radio.
Serious.
Here he is talking about what he is continuing continuing to hear about the Phillies and what they're going to try to do this deadline.
I guess my take is very clear in what Sam Fuld and Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies are trying to do. They're trying to fix center field, and they've made it the priority. They feel like they have enough starting pitching, and they have enough bullpen. They feel like their lineup is good, but they really want to figure out center field. And so Lewis Robert of the White Sox, Jazz Chisholm of the Miami Marlins, and Cody Bellinger of the Cubs have been their top priority. Now, they know that both Robert and Chisholm are available and that both of those teams will trade them. The Cubs have not decided yet if they're going to buy, sell, or hold. But the Phillies have made it clear to every GM in the game that they've talked to that that's their goal. That's their target. That's it. And knowing Dave Dombrowski, who, by the way, will someday be a Hall of Famer after winning a world championship with Boston and taking the Tigers there and winning a world championship with the Marlins and taking the Phillies there. And won one yet. This might be the year, but he's a Hall of Famer. The one thing I know about him is when he targets something, he'll get it. And when he targets it, it's not going to be a risk. It's going to be the best. When he targets the best, he gets the best. So Dave's going to get one of those three guys. That's my best guess for the Phillies at the trade deadline. They get one of the three. I don't know which one, and it's going to cost them because when they're done making that deal, they're going to end up having to put Aiden Miller in it, and they're going to have to put in one of their top pitching prospects too. So it's going to be a price, but they're going to pay it.
No way. I'll tell you right now, he's wrong.
Aiden Miller can't be traded for Jazz Chisholm.
I'm telling you right
Jazz
now.
Chisholm's not good enough.
Aiden Miller is not going in a deal for Jazz Chisholm.
No.
Aiden Miller, and also, too, it's not going to be Aiden Miller and Andrew Painter.
No.
That would be stupid. Dave Dombrowski's not stupid.
He's not going to do that, but he is going to be aggressive, and I love hearing that. So I want to get some of your reaction to this. You can text in, call in 610-632-0975. We'd love to hear from you, not just on our topics. I miss you. I've been gone for the last week, so I'd love to hear from you guys. But coming up next, I have a question for you all when it comes to the prospects, John, and maybe this is perfect for you, and I know it's perfect for Connor. Why are we so worried about years down the line and not the here and now?
I'll tell you what.
All right, it's Kincade Salciunas. Good to be back right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. 97.5 The Fanatic on
Pace
this beautiful
yourself today.
Tuesday morning. Yeah.
You don't want to get out just out of the gates where you tire yourself out. You got to take a nap.
Dude, it's kind of hard not to. With everything that's going on, and this is my first chance to really react to it. Like, don't get me wrong. I was talking to, my dad was out in Lithuania, so, I got to talk some sports with him while I was out there. But I wasn't really talking much sports with, the bartenders that don't really follow the Phillies. There is Sixers love, and I will tell you there is a lot of Eagles love that I will give to you later on in the show.
Oh, you know what that means? Season opener, Jeffrey Lurie will have us over in Lithuania.
Hey, I'll go.
I know you'll go. It'll be Lithuania.
I'll be the ambassador.
Yeah, Jeffrey Lurie. You know what? We're trying to build the audience in Lithuania.
Yeah, man. There's a whole 3 million people in that country. You want to grab them. But it was, I'm going to be fired up today. There was so much that happened that while I was gone that I want to react to it with you guys. You can text in, call in 610-632-0975. Real quick, before I get to this prospect discussion. So how are you feeling, John? Because remember, you and I were both not really in favor of Paul George because of the injury history.
No question.
Now that you know he is here and you've heard him talk, injury history is still there. That is not going away. I know he was healthy last year, but
contract.
That was one of the last 5 years. How are you feeling now that you know he is on this team?
I absolutely feel much better about it. I don't believe that there were many options. And we saw that Paul George didn't have options.
Right.
He didn't have an option to go back to the Clippers. He didn't have an option to go Golden State. And Philly ends up being the best landing spot for him. It's okay to be the consolation prize. Stuff like that works out all the time.
Especially because if you didn't get Paul George,
I would be miserable.
I was panicking last week.
I thought we were going to end up in a discussion of which superstar is going to be opting out or begging out by February. I think it would have been a miserable way to talk about an NBA season. I love the vision that Daryl Morey's put together here. And I mean, love.
Yeah.
Capital L. I feel better about this Sixers team than any since I've returned. Much better.
Oh, yeah, because now you already see depth.
I see the team, too.
Yes.
I can envision it all. And I don't see one roster spot being the Bermuda Triangle
right.
of either suck or just disinterest.
Right.
I'm excited.
And then yesterday you had your first summer league action, and Ricky Council goes off. Now Ricky Council is an NBA player going up against rookies, against G League guys. So
what
of course
is he though? I heard Bob and Amy
he's more
talk.
than a two-way player.
I heard Bob and Amy talk about this. Is that? But what thing? And even Bob and Amy at one point weren't even nailing down is what is he though? What Where does he fit on the chart?
He's going to be lower.
But where does he fit? Is he somebody that you're looking at as what?
Are you talking about position?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
Well, he's a forward.
He's a hooper, John.
Yeah.
He's a hooper.
You hope that he comes onto the court and scores in spurts. And there might be nights where he's a did not play coach's decision.
Right. But so you're talking about and I don't want, and I'm not trying to demean the guy. Energy guy, vibes guy.
No, I think he's an NBA player who was not ready to play in the playoffs last year, which Nick Nurse told you that. I think he played for a total of 4 minutes during that entire series against the Knicks. That's if he even did get in. I forget if he even got in. But, he goes off yesterday, and of course he does because he's more than a two-way player.
Okay, good.
You saw that. They gave him the guaranteed contract so that he could be on the playoff roster last year. But then you saw the young kids, McCain and Bona, both play well yesterday. And now all of a sudden you have not only your starting five, and then you can debate whether or not Kelly Oubre should be coming off the bench or if Caleb Martin should be coming off the bench. You're starting to see the younger players that are going to be filled in, that are probably going to be 9th or 10th on this rotation, or maybe not in the rotation at all.
But Nick will play them.
Correct.
He'll give them.
John.
He's going to give them opportunities to get their feet wet. To
Doc
show them
Rivers
what you can
didn't do that.
He did not.
And that was one of the biggest problems that a lot of people had with Doc Rivers. Now, I did not think Paul Reed was going to be something. I saw a three-point shooter in Isaiah Joe. Now, is he better than what I expected him to be? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie to you. But I saw a pure three-point shooter that Doc Rivers either wouldn't play or had him playing point guard. And he was not a point guard. And he should not have been sitting on the bench. Nick Nurse is, to your point, John, the coach that will give these young kids some opportunities to play. And then come playoff time, he'll lighten it. He'll probably make it 8-9 guys as opposed to using all 12 guys. And that's the way you should do it.
And there's versatility with this roster.
Right.
Because of the fact that it's just there's going to be opportunities for night to night. I really do believe the Sixers starting five is almost not going to be a thing as I'm looking at it right now. Maybe it will develop into one, but I think it can be situational at times.
I would still love Kelly Oubre to come off the bench. I think he's a guy that can just score.
I don't see how that happens now, though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see where he's a bench guy right now.
Yeah, I mean,
now there could be another guy coming in. They could find somebody. I mean, is there going to be there are a couple things. I mean, is there a veteran point guard out there who could give you 20 minutes?
Maybe
22 minutes that you could get? Is there a real power forward? Is there somebody like that?
Well, you're in the day of positionless basketball. You'll probably have just a bunch of length and wings.
Which is really hard for me, by the way, to conceive of. The idea of, it's positionless basketball. I'm still stuck in that. I'm looking for more of a traditional, like somebody. I wonder about this team, but defensively, I do not.
Yeah, you're feeling better.
I love a good defense. I like a basketball team that can D up. This team will be able to D up.
And by the way, Kyle Lowry's still out there, and I know his name's been still mentioned to the Sixers a lot, so that's still
and supposedly
a possibility.
According to NBA Live, market reportedly very soft on Kyle Lowry.
Okay.
Because I don't think...
Oh, he's 38.
Right, exactly. I don't think he fits, but I'd absolutely have zero issue with Kyle Lowry being back.
Right. He could be the backup to Maxey, or he could start but not play 40 minutes like they were having him do in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. Is it possible to have a starter who plays 20 minutes?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what
it all comes down to who's your final five on the court at the end of games.
And there you go.
All right. So the Phillies discussion.
It's good news, isn't it? It's happy news.
It is happy news. Like
like yesterday I said, I thought about the Braves series 10 more minutes than I should have because of the fact that it's the Braves and my timeline explodes with half of the South getting on my backside about it.
And then you remember,
but I'm not worried.
Oh wait, they're missing 3 of their starting 9. There's still confusion about what they're going to do in center field. Like 4 out of the 9 spots right now in that lineup are aren't playing. I'll say right now, the center fielder on this roster right now, or the guy that's not on the roster right now, will be your future center fielder. Whether it's a Robert, whether it's a Bellinger, whether it's a Jazz Chisholm. Like, you have options. So right now, 4 of your 9, until Harper and Schwarber and Real Muto come back and you get that center fielder,
and you might get
starters.
2 tonight.
You might
get 2. You're going to get Schwarber, it appears. And you might get Harper.
And you're clearly missing those guys. Like,
it's absolutely.
Like, you need those guys back. So the discussion about prospects.
And this is going to get, you and I are going to definitely have issues between now and the 30th on this.
Absolutely.
I believe.
I don't understand why we're so worried about down the line when I want to see a freaking championship, John.
I know you do. I also know that this organization has been absolutely bereft of a minor league system producing top-level talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that now, with Preston Mattingly and others in charge, that they have created a structure where they got rid of scouts with 25, 30 years tenure.
Within the Phillies organization.
And brought in different eyes, different energy and everything. And it is already shown benefits. Their player development. And I was told by an opposing general manager that this Philadelphia Phillies player development, according to where people observe from around baseball, has taken leaps and bounds in a couple of years under Dave Dombrowski.
Oh, unbelievable.
Dave Dombrowski's really big on the roving instructors and how they're teaching and teach things at each level that sort of fall into line and just bringing a structure in. I absolutely do not feel with the best team in baseball that you need to go, now you need to go pay premium prices for guys who might not be premium talent.
Well, John, you just talked about this incredible structure that this Phillies farm system has, right?
That is correct.
Why can't they just continue doing it?
They could,
right?
But the thing is
Bryson Stott was the top prospect just a couple of years ago. He's now your starting second baseman. Aiden Miller's your top prospect, him and Andrew Painter, right? Every single year you have a new top prospect, it seems. And they're doing that because they're actually hitting on these players that they're drafting, at least in the minor league so far.
Here's one on Aiden Miller. Just a discussion on Aiden Miller. Aiden Miller can play first base.
I keep hearing,
well, he is the third baseman for the most part. But there's no need to be people saying, well, he's blocked. You trade him because you got Alec Boehm here. Alec Boehm could be your first baseman of the future. Aiden Miller is a better defensive third baseman now than Alec Boehm is. So when I hear people say he's blocked, no, because in a year from now,
Harper could be your DH.
Harper can then be DH.
Right.
So because you then can say Kyle Schwarber could go, and that's if Aiden Miller was ready for the major leagues in 26. I don't know that he is. Crawford and him, Crawford is predicted for 26, like that path, late 25, early 26, for an outfield position that you've got. I don't think anything you're going to do is going to block Crawford from being able to come in here. If you're telling me Crawford, Miller, Andrew Painter, I'm not touching.
Miller's the only guy I'm not allowing to get traded.
So he's the only one.
Yeah, because Andrew Painter already has arm issues.
Okay, and he has.
Already.
Yeah, correct. Now, many pitchers in baseball. I believe the number the other night from the Apple TV broadcast, which, by the way, was freaking horrendous.
I saw a lot of reviews.
It was horrendous.
Yeah, I saw a lot of bad reviews.
But we couldn't listen to Fransky in L.A. on our. I don't know if anybody else had the same issue. We tried to do the local TV.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. The audio was bad. They talked about there are I think 22 pitchers in Major League Baseball that have been healthy for 2 years that have had Tommy John that are in starting rotations.
Yeah.
I'm not worried that
Johnny's got to get to the big leagues first.
I got you.
And that's my biggest thing. So I want to get
Correct.
Connor's reaction to this as well. And, of course, your texts and calls. YouTube, hello. It's good to be back. Appreciate the kind words. 610-632-0975 is the number to text in or call in. We get your reaction coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Tuesday morning. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now is the time to become a Fanatic MVP. Go right now to
Hi, the Fanatic. Happy Tuesday morning, Philadelphia. And how about a shout out to my mom and dad, your adopted mom,
My adopted parents?
your adopted parents,
'Cause I'm an orphan now.
and my Uncle Mike and Aunt Neoli. They're listening live from Paris right now. So
Really?
they decide to do the shorter Lithuania trip and then make a pit stop to Paris on the way home. It was
A pit stop to Paris.
Well, it was a bucket list item for my parents.
That's
So
fantastic.
They're there for, I think, maybe two full days, and they're listening on the app right now.
Okay, that's
live from
fantastic.
Paris. So we're getting a ratings boost.
So what is it like? It's like lunchtime.
I think it's 6 hour difference.
Okay, so
Lithuania is
it's
7.
It's in the early afternoon then.
Yeah, so they've probably already had like 2 bottles of wine because that's all you do while you're out there.
Oh,
So
that sounds nice.
I'm sure.
You mean bread and wine?
Yeah, that's all.
I'm
you
all
do.
in.
That's all
I'm
you do while you're
Look,
out
I'm
there.
Catholic. Bread
Yeah.
and wine, I'm set.
So I'm glad that they're having a good
That's
time.
great. That's a good time. Travel
but
safely.
I'll
please.
just say this: you're in Paris. Stop listening to Philadelphia sports talk radio. All right, go enjoy
No, your
yourself.
dad's just as jacked up about Paul George as you
Oh,
are.
absolutely. This entire Sixers off season so far and what the Phillies have been accomplishing. Would love to hear from you. You can text and call in 610-632-0975. When it comes to the Sixers, I just want to know, are you feeling good? Right? I don't see how anybody can't be. I did get the tweet right away yesterday. They're not as good as the Celtics. Like, I can't get to that level just yet
I swear to you.
because the offseason's not done yet.
And you know what I would also say to those people? You're a freaking turned ankle
Right.
from potentially being better than the Celtics.
Right.
You're a catastrophic injury from maybe being better than the Celtics. We don't know how it plays out. If anyone is not happy about this Sixers team, when have you been happy in the past 10? This is the best I've felt about the Sixers in over a decade.
Right.
And that includes 2019.
Well, going into
Because 2019, I didn't know what to expect.
They didn't have Jimmy Butler or Tobias to start
So
the season.
So I'm saying this is the best I've felt in more than a decade.
Like, we're not sitting here.
I feel good about this. We're not proclaiming anything.
Right. We're not sitting here 2 weeks before the season starts. Oh, my God. So this guy's really not going to start the season. He's going to refuse to play. What can they do to trade him? Who can they actually get? No, you know the team so far. There's still roster spots that need to be filled. But you know the team so far. So if you're not feeling good right now, I need to hear from you because it confuses the hell out of me. And then when it comes to the Phillies, I am not afraid to trade prospects. I don't care how highly thought of they are. A lot of times they don't actually pan out, and I've believed this since the beginning of my life.
Okay, now I did have one from AJ.
Okay.
One of our listeners on DM. AJ says, John, before you poo-poo Andrew, and I'm not saying you're wrong with your philosophy, you need to hear the player that Andrew is willing to give up which player for.
I'm
He's like, don't poo-poo the idea of trading a top prospect. You don't know who the player is.
Right.
Now, if you told me right now that Cody Bellinger was going to be here, and I believe Cody Bellinger has another year, I'm all in on my listening ears are perked up.
Okay.
I'm perked up.
And when it comes to what Jim Bowden said, I'm not trading Aiden Miller for Jazz Chisholm. Like, Jazz Chisholm is not good enough to acquire that top player. I would take Jazz Chisholm on this team. I think the biggest thing is he's under control still. Like, it's not like he's not a rental. But I'm not trading a top prospect for Jazz Chisholm.
I don't think you're going to have to either.
I don't think so either. Like, I don't necessarily look. Jim Bowden knows more than I do, but I'm not going to necessarily believe that to be true. Now, if you're talking Luis Robert, I know of the injury history and the injury concern. The talent's there. Like, he is a bona fide star when healthy. He's better than Jazz Chisholm, so that's going to cost you more. And I'm not afraid to trade a pitcher who is already hurt. I'm not afraid.
Well, the one thing is if you say Andrew Painter, and this is where I can't wait to hear what Connor's say on this one, because if you say trade Andrew Painter, and I can't.
Starlin Caba
says to me, gentleman says to me here, he goes, where is Andrew Painter on this team? A fifth starter in the next 2 years? He said your rotation's pretty much set. I get you. But there's injuries, there's things like that going on.
Now, Andrew Painter's more...
I'd be fine. By the way, I would be absolutely fine if Andrew Painter was your fifth starter.
Yeah.
And was able to bring him along.
He makes more of an impact than some of the other prospects that might be, like Logan O'Hoppe. He wasn't going to play, right? So Andrew Painter could make more of an impact than Logan O'Hoppe because Andrew Painter will actually pitch every single week. Logan O'Hoppe would only play really one game a week. So Painter makes more of an impact for you. But he's got to be healthy first. And he already isn't. So, Connor, what do we have on the text line coming in about our topic so far today?
Yeah, so we have our first one here, no name on this one, but question for both of you guys. If you don't have to give up Painter or Miller, sorry, this is the one I wanted to read. That one was about Mike Trout, which doesn't sound realistic.
No,
he says, can the real Andrew please come back from Lithuania? This is crazy. You do not give up crown jewel pieces for guys that haven't played 100 games in their career. I'm not giving up any of these crown jewels for the three guys that Jim Bowden
So
named.
do you know who the real Andrew is? Because the real Andrew's here. The real Andrew
this is the guy.
I have been on this belief when it comes to prospects.
You always have.
Forever. I've been at this radio station for 10 years. I had this belief pre-radio station. I remember arguing with my buddy Ben. You know Ben. We played basketball with him. I remember the tears that were shed out of his eyes when they traded Lou Marson. All right?
Yeah,
Lou Marson sucked.
You're insane, dude.
Right.
You have taken this so much too far. Where do you think players at the major league level come from? Do they just materialize?
No, they come up through the farm system, but dude, it's such a crapshoot. Kyle Drabek
guess what?
was supposed to be better than Roy
So
Halladay.
you have PTSD from bad leadership of previous
Yeah,
teams.
That's
Okay.
your problem. Just because the Phillies can't do it doesn't mean every other major league team trades for all these guys. They developed. They raised them. They called them up. They create teams through that. And the Phillies...
I'm sorry. How many times do we talk about the Dodgers farm system and how great it is?
Okay, how many
Their
times...
best players have all been acquired either trade or free agency.
Okay, got you.
Who's the best team in your division over the last 3 decades?
The Atlanta Braves.
What do they do?
The Atlanta Braves are, I have said, probably the greatest organization in Major League Baseball.
Okay, so
it
then
was
why
them and the
don't
Houston
you,
Astros.
Why wouldn't you go look at what they do, the pipeline of talent that they continually bring up?
All right, they've found a formula that absolutely
And then
works.
when Matt Olson was available, then cash in 2 or 3 year prospects. By the way, Christian Pache. Freaking Christian Pache.
But okay, so the Braves are doing it, but the Dodgers don't. The
Dodgers just going
almost-
by, and what has it done for them?
Almost like there's
They're a
multiple
100-win
ways to
team
do
year
this.
in and year out. They just haven't.
Okay, I'm going to say, look, Luis Robert, I understand. The Sixers, it's either the Sixers or the Phillies. They're negotiating against each other. He seems like a perfect person. Sixers of the past. Sorry, Darryl.
when it comes to injury history. All right, so the real Andrew's here. The real Andrew has had this belief for a very long time.
Good to have you aboard, Connor.
It's good to be back. Connor, I'll get more of your thoughts coming up next because clearly you feel a certain type of way. Also, remember 2 weeks ago, I was panicking about the Sixers, as were you, John. It wasn't just us. It was also a player on the Sixers, and that player is Joel Embiid. We'll talk about that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Sean Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic on this beautiful Tuesday morning. It's absolutely great to be back. I mean, it's not like I'm coming back to some horrible sports scene, right? Like,
no, it's pretty damn good.
I'm coming back to a new-look Sixers roster. I'm coming back to a baseball team that has 7 All-Stars on it and a team that can still improve despite having one of the best records in baseball, right? I'm coming back to a football team that I'm excited to watch, and as you mentioned, 15 days until the first practice of training camp. We're right around the corner for that. And everybody has high expectations except for maybe one person on this radio station that we'll talk about in about 30 minutes later on this hour, because I was listening a little bit yesterday during my drive arounds because my one day left of vacation, I decided to go to the dentist and do yard work.
That's always good, though.
Yeah, I had to get it out of the way.
I love going to the dentist. I'm like one of the weirdos that enjoys.
Not really a big fan of it.
The teeth cleaning, though, you feel great.
Yeah. It's been a while since I got them clean, so
that's the problem.
There was some extra work that needed to be done.
Okay.
But Connor, we'll get back to the text line in a second, but I want to get more of your reaction to what we've talked about so far. I am astonished that when it comes to the Sixers, you of all people, you match my level of positivity, and sometimes I seem like
exceeds it.
Sometimes I'm Mr. Negative around Connor. And you're the one that's kind of keeping yourself grounded from the Sixers excitement, which is amazing to me.
Well, it's not so much like I'm excited. I am. I know I don't sound like it with the way I reacted earlier, but I love all the moves. I could not be happier with the Paul George situation, Caleb Martin, Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond, Kelly Oubre coming back.
Listen to that, yes.
I love what they've done.
Okay.
They've done everything as well as they possibly could have.
Okay.
My problem is this franchise has had multiple other seasons where I think they've done everything as well as they could have. It might not have been as good as this. It might not have been as set up as well, but they've been handcuffed left and right for the past 7 or 8 years, whether it's Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, whatever it is. And they make the best possible options, and every time it's not enough. So I'm happy about the moves in a vacuum. But I have to absolutely see this work on the court before I'm starting to talk about the ceiling of this team.
So you're going to take the approach I took last season.
Yeah.
So I took it, and you can ask Ray Dunn because I was still doing the midday show when the Sixers season tipped off last year. I went into the year with an approach of an 82-game educational approach. I would never get too high and get too excited. I would also never get too low and say that this team stinks, they're not going to win anything. Obviously, when the Embiid injury happened, that kind of changed a lot, but it also gave me an opportunity to be educated with the backup center position, and I got my answer. And the Sixers got their answer, and that's why he's no longer on this team in Paul Reed. So when there were great moments like Embiid dropping 70, I celebrated it, but I wasn't about to say this is why they're going to win a championship. And when there were some bad games, I didn't panic and say this is why they're going to lose. It seems like that's what you're going to do.
I hated that, Connor, though, when I heard him say it.
Why?
Because I don't like that approach. Because to me, well, first of all, if I'm listening to either one of you, I don't want to hear analytical Andrew and Connor.
Okay.
Like, to me, I want to hear somebody who is the fan in you coming out.
This is where the fans are at, dude. The fans are where I'm at. You can make every move perfectly, and people are still going to believe that the Sixers are going to have something go wrong.
Yeah, but Connor, last year, and part of the reason why I had this approach last year, John,
right,
is that I didn't think they were going to win. They told you they weren't going to win. They told you that they were going to kick the can down 1 year.
They did.
To this new CBA, this new blank landscape that Daryl Morey had to work with Tobias Harris's contract coming off the books. Like, they weren't never going to trade him. They were going to let the final year play out. They had to figure out what to do with James Harden being traded, and the guys that you were bringing on with expiring contracts. Like, they told you last year, without straight up saying we're not going to win this year, the moves that Daryl Morey made and the lack of moves that Daryl Morey made last year told you they weren't going to win a championship.
They did.
This year, they're making moves where you can at least make the case that they will be contenders more so than last year.
I totally understand. I love the moves. I love what they're doing. They're doing everything they possibly can. This is no fault of the Sixers. This is a greater power at work here that I have. Think about the way that last season happened. Joel Embiid was heading towards a lock back-to-back MVP, could argue that it should have been a third straight MVP. He's dropping 70 on people's heads. And then the next thing you know, freak accident, knee blows up. He's out until a point where he can't get back in time. He's hampered in the postseason. He doesn't have enough time to get used.
Yeah.
It's almost Shakespearean at this point. It's something beyond the realm of basketball. It has nothing to do with the moves they're making. I believe they're making great moves, but I have to see it to believe it.
But then this goes back to the living in fear thing.
I don't. It's Connor Thomas. I'm more of, if someone's listening to the show this morning, they're saying, "What the hell has someone done with Connor Thomas?"
Right. Somebody said,
because this doesn't
can the
sound
real
like
Andrew
you at
come
all.
back? No. Where's Connor?
This doesn't sound like you at all. And more importantly, I would just say to you, this is not what being if there's other things to do in life for a fan approach that is like that. Like, I can't live like that. I just can't do things have happened bad in the past. If there was ever a chance for that to happen, it would have been 2017 when Nick Foles had to come in for Carson Wentz. When Carson Wentz got injured, I was so convinced the Eagles were the best team in football and were going to finally give me my Super Bowl. And when Carson Wentz got injured in that Rams game, and that next day, when the word came back of the injury, it would have been never easier than to just say, it sucks, it's all over.
And that's what I said.
For whatever reason, I thought they were in a good enough position that I was going to wait and see. As far as Super Bowl, I wasn't thinking they're going to give me the parade.
Right.
But I was absolutely saying, and thank God social media backs me up, they ended up I said, this team can go to the Super Bowl. I thought they had the path that it could happen. And then the path really opened up.
Like, Connor, I don't think you're crazy for having that feeling. I'm just amazed that you, of all people, have that feeling. And you're right. There are probably tons of Sixers fans that are seeing these moves and going, okay, what's this all for? Another second-round loss? Like, I'm sure a lot of people are saying that, and I just didn't see it on the timeline just yet.
Right, no, I'm excited. Like, when I saw these moves, I'm like, let's go. Paul George, that's awesome. I'm excited about this move. This team is very, very good. But think back at all the big moves the Sixers have had for, like, the past 5 or 6 years. When have they ever not made the best possible or close to the best possible move? They've been really darn
but Connor,
good.
a lot of those have been out of desperation.
I understand,
like
but that's all I've got
George,
to go on,
I
dude.
know Paul George. If they didn't get Paul George, we probably would be singing a totally different tune. But Paul George has been on their radar for a year now.
He has.
Like, it's not like this Paul George thing came out of nowhere. They weren't the sneaky team. You always hear about MLB trade. There's one sleeper team that's going to make a move. The Sixers had wanted Paul George for over a year.
Okay, was James Harden not on their radar for a year?
No, he was, but it was also out of desperation when they traded Ben Simmons, a guy who was refusing to play.
I understand.
But that's it was a different story. The one thing is that I got to snap Connor out of this because I need to be. I am the one of the three of us who is more skeptical when it comes to Sixers and the past and everything like that.
Yeah, that's your job, John.
I've been even more wounded. I can't have this though. I cannot have what I'm hearing today. I can't have it.
Did you guys have like a Freaky Friday where you guys swapped?
I can't have it.
Like, what happened while I was gone?
Because I've lived the 40 years. 41 years. I went to the championship parade. I rode the L and the Red Arrow bus up Westchester Pike after the parade with my buddy Joe and thought, hey, this is great.
You were also anti-process, whereas guys like Connor and I were pro-process.
Completely anti.
And so because it hasn't led to a championship yet.
It hasn't led to anything.
It's been more depressing probably for us than for you because you were against the idea in the beginning.
Yeah, I'm against my teams purposely losing. Yes, I am.
All right, what do we have on the text line? Then I'm going to play you this Joel Embiid audio because for everybody who may have attacked us, like the best show ever, and I know we have a peace treaty, so this is not me attacking the best show
Sounds
ever.
like you're trying to start something.
No. But we were attacked when we were concerned about the Sixers offseason. Well, we weren't the only ones concerned. The best player on the freaking team was also concerned. But what do we have on the text line so far, Connor? You can text the show, call the show, 610-632-0975.
While we're on the Sixers, we have a check-in here. Chris from Delco asks, is power forward not still a question mark for you guys? You sound excited about the team, but Caleb Martin is too small to play there. And Paul George, it isn't his best fit to play there. So are you concerned about the position?
I mean, look, they're probably not done yet. And again, it's positionless basketball. Like,
but
other teams have that. Like the Sixers aren't the only team.
Okay, does Boston have positionless basketball?
No, but
Does Denver have positionless basketball?
no,
Sort of, a
sort
little
of,
more hybrid.
they have a .5.
Right.
Also, Boston kind of does too. They rotate Porzingis to multiple spots. They rotate Horford to multiple spots. Neither of those guys are a true center. They don't really have a true 5.
Yeah, because you have Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis,
and Derek White, and those 4 of those 5 guys are kind of interchangeable.
Right. Like you can make it work. Like the days of Paul Millsap are over. Right? Like
yeah.
Like,
Why was that the name that came to mind?
Because he was here a couple of years ago. He was part of the James Harden trade.
Yeah.
Remember, he came here with Harden. Those players. You don't see them as much anymore unless they're specialists. Like Josh Hart isn't a power forward, but Josh Hart is a guy that can go out there and grab 15 rebounds for you coming off of the wing. So it depends on how this roster is built. So I'm not too worried about it. And oh, by the way, it's not done yet. Like I've seen Marcus Morris's name pop up again multiple times.
Marcus Morris, though?
He's what you want. He's a guy that can play the power forward for you.
20 minutes?
Yeah, you're not asking for much.
Okay.
But he's that type of player is Marcus Morris. That you're
one of the things that I don't like is the age. The only thing that I can even point to is the age.
Okay.
Not thrilled with the age.
Then Paul Reed would have been your perfect power forward. A guy that's young, athletic, and could grab rebounds.
And they didn't believe it, so I'm going to trust Darryl that he had the opportunity.
I didn't believe it.
Plus, he needed the flexibility financially.
Yeah.
So they got rid of him.
So, I mean, look, that's probably the one spot right now. I still don't know who the starting 5 is. I don't. I'm going to have to think about this one, especially because I need to see if more players are coming here, which they have to be coming here. But all right, let's get into this. So, Joel Embiid was interviewed by Tim Bontemps, who does a tremendous job covering the NBA for ESPN. And remember, all the reports was that Joel Embiid was on board with the plan that Daryl Morey had before last season, which was hey, we're not going to win this year. We're going to set ourselves up for this upcoming offseason, which we're in right now.
He did.
And there were a lot of reports that at one point it seemed like Paul George wasn't going to come here.
Well, he didn't prefer to come here.
He didn't prefer to come
here. And I
here.
love the fact that he was very honest about it, and he said, yeah, he didn't.
And then you sit back and you see what the other teams around the NBA were doing, like the New York Knicks acquiring Mikal Bridges. They see a window, they went after it, right? The Sixers needed Paul George in order to be a legitimate contender, at least the case to be a contender. I was panicking when it seemed like that wasn't going to happen because I did not like Plan B. Plan B was Brandon Ingram. Right, like I was not in favor of Plan B.
I was anti-Brandon Ingram.
And then we read that report. Remember Kyle Neubeck wrote the piece that maybe they might kick the can again to maybe the trade deadline.
Yes.
And then you start thinking about Kevin Durant. Like, what if Kevin Durant's unhappy again? And now it's like, really, we're doing this again where we won't know the roster until the trade deadline?
I was absolutely anti that plan.
Yeah.
Did not want it.
So we weren't the only ones, John, you and I, freaking out about the Sixers offseason.
I don't think we freaked out.
No,
I think we were, but we were absolutely not pleased.
I was nervous.
No, I was absolutely nervous. I was absolutely nervous.
When I started reading stories about they might kick the can down the road again, I was worried about that. And then that led to legitimate Joel Embiid trade discussion. Not that I was going to do that. You know that. But
I did engage in it.
It led to legitimate conversation. If they weren't going to build a contender this year, what's the point of still trying? Well, Joel Embiid himself was kind of nervous as well. Take a listen.
Was there a point over the last year where your patience waned at all, where you weren't sure about how this was going to end, or did you have faith the whole time that this was ultimately going to land in a good place?
I'll be lying to say that our patience was tested because I'm at the point where there's no awards that don't change the way my legacy is, but the main one is the championship. So when you start thinking about what you want to be remembered at, you want to be remembered as someone that's won. The key is always help, and firmly believe it every year that I play this game. I just believe that I just get that one chance to be, free and healthy. Along with my teammates, I believe we can beat anybody.
Well, I wish that Joel Embiid had been the one who came to the Sixers. It took him a long time to get there.
And I think the Sixers are at fault for that. The organization is at fault for that.
I always put personal responsibility first.
I get
the
that.
professionalism, the work ethic, the attitude. I wish that he'd had that.
Well, work ethic was there when he's getting better every single season. I understand that there were issues with his health early on.
Well, I think conditioning's a big part of work
Conditioning was a big
ethic.
part of it.
No, I think that's work ethic. Conditioning.
And look, he's gotten a lot better at it
No,
over the last 3 years.
He has, absolutely. I just wish that he'd
Okay.
had that attitude all along.
But he's here now.
He is.
That maturity level that you hear in that clip right there, the maturity level that you're getting out of what Tyrese Maxey, I know you guys played it in headlines yesterday, and we'll talk more about that as the show goes on. Tyrese Maxey crediting Joel Embiid for putting his arm around him the second that he got there when he was drafted by the Sixers. And Joel Embiid really being there for him and uplifting him and turning him into a professional. Does Joel Embiid not get enough credit in this city? You know how I feel about it. I think he's the most disrespected athlete in Philadelphia.
Does he not get enough respect? No. He gets the respect that he's earned.
All I hear is that nobody wants to ever play with him, and that he's obviously the injury. I get it. Like you're not wrong if you say he's always injured.
Okay.
But there are people that I think disrespect Joel Embiid locally.
Really? I don't believe. I believe you're talking lunatic fringe.
Really?
Yeah. I don't believe the main opinion on Joel Embiid is disrespect. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He hasn't delivered anything.
Does he get?
He hasn't delivered it.
Does he get enough credit? I think that clip right there is the maturity that we have all been looking for.
It's what I've been looking for forever.
The answers that he gave during the Knicks series is the answers that we hope to hear against the Toronto Raptors when, he missed the game because of gastroenteritis, right? We're seeing it now.
I think in my opinion, if you're looking for a lot more love to be thrown his way, you're asking it to be thrown without accomplishments. Again, and I think it's very cool of him to acknowledge, and I respect the hell out of it. No award is going to change his legacy. He's concerned with his legacy now. I respect the hell out of that. I'm proud to hear it because I think before he was freaking obsessed with awards.
Well, shouldn't he
obsessed with it?
So then he should get more credit for that kind of.
He gets plenty of credit.
Like this offseason, he deserves credit. Right? How many times have we heard, he doesn't recruit? He was literally on ESPN. Was not supposed to do a media hit, saw that Paul George was on the set, asked to be a part of the ESPN coverage of the NBA Finals.
By the way, I have heard that story is not true.
Okay.
I have heard that story is not true.
All right.
That it was more, that's how the theater of it came about.
Okay.
That it was
Fine.
more theater. But guess what? I'm glad that he wanted to do it.
If the theater works, it works.
I'm glad he wanted, look at it. Remember it though. Again though, let's back up. The only reason it happened is because the Clippers wouldn't give Paul George what he wants, and the Golden State Warriors wouldn't give Paul George what he wants. And the Clippers wouldn't cooperate with the Warriors. I mean, that's the only reason it happened. It wasn't because of Joel Embiid's recruiting.
Okay.
It was because of a max contract at the third option for Paul George.
A max contract to still a contender, though.
Oh, I know.
And Joel Embiid is the reason why this team's a contender.
There was no recruiting of Joel Embiid's recruiting did not bring Paul George here. Paul George had one option.
Well, if he hated Joel Embiid, he wouldn't come here just because of a max contract.
He had already turned down the Clippers and told them to move on. The Warriors weren't going to give him what he wanted, and he wasn't going to be able to get the cooperation from the Clippers to the Warriors.
I'm sure there's still a part of Paul George that wants to win. I don't think
I don't think he was leaving. I don't think he was going to leave $100 million on the table.
No,
Absolutely not.
Probably not.
He came to the Sixers.
But if he loves LA so much,
he didn't get recruited here. That's Greek mythology.
You don't think Joel
Embiid
you don't think Joel Embiid had anything to do with that?
No, it was Greek mythology. He got his money. The only place the bag was for Paul George was here. By the way, I'm not unhappy with that.
Right.
And I don't blame Paul George for one freaking minute. I love capitalism. Let me bathe in it. I think it's wonderful. Every time I see somebody get paid for their services, I applaud it. I love it. Great stuff. Now go earn it.
Okay.
Now go earn it. I don't think Joel Embiid's disrespected at all.
Connor?
At all.
I always think he's disrespecting the
city.
I
mean, for his talent level, for sure. To some extent, he is. But part of it, you have to look at the winning versus the talent level. Is your ultimate legacy, like Joel Embiid's talking about in that clip, is it more important whether or not you bring a championship or you're an all-time great player? And should you respect?
Right, but it's not done yet. Like it's not like we're talking about the retirement tour.
What do we got? 2-3 years?
2-3 years of elite level. He's
No, I
still
got
here
you.
for going to be 5-6 years, I imagine.
I'm just saying to you is
They just signed Paul George to a 5-year max contract. Joel Embiid's not going anywhere.
the fact that he won an MVP does nothing for me.
I'm not talking about MVP.
Like, I mean, that individual.
I'm talking about that
But
clip.
he's saying it. But he's saying it to you. Individual awards don't create your legacy.
Okay.
Your legacy
But
is
he's
based on
doing
winning.
what he can to try to add to that
And
legacy.
I'm glad that it's finally happening.
All right, so celebrate that it's at least here, that it
We're
never, rather than it not happening.
Glad that it's happening. I'm glad. I've been waiting for it forever.
All right, you can text and call in 610-632-0975. Do you give Joel Embiid more credit for the maturity level that we're starting to see rise for Embiid, the man that he's becoming as the veteran of this Sixers team? And coming up next, I'm back in the States. I'm listening to the show yesterday, and I heard Kevin Cooney say something that made me go, what? In the car. Are we missing something?
What?
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Up.
7:30 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Good Tuesday morning. Coming up around 8:10, I'm going to tell you how the Eagles are now international.
International. I like this.
Not just Brazil, man, as they will be playing week 1 against the Packers in Brazil.
Okay.
But I will say in Lithuania,
International in Lithuania. I love this.
They've been there, dude. I'll tell you exactly how I found this out multiple times.
Wow, I like this.
Because it made me sad at first, but then it made me happy as I started to have some conversations. So I'll explain more coming up at 8:10. The Eagles are a big deal, not just here in Philadelphia, which we already knew that. We know how well they travel. We know that there's fans all over the country, but also in different countries, also in different continents. The Eagles are a big deal, so I love that. But speaking of the Eagles, yesterday, I was home yesterday, but I wanted to try to, mess with the jet lag a little bit.
All right.
Get Cooper back on schedule. He's been a terror ever since we gotten home, right?
I heard you've been too, so.
Yeah, no, I've been fine. So yesterday I had to run some errands.
Okay.
Went to the dentist, and I'm driving around.
That's good.
And you were doing the show with Kevin Cooney. Connor
Yes.
was out sick yesterday. How you feeling today, by the way?
Wonderful.
I
feel great.
You've bounced back.
I'm not buying
Perfect.
that,
Back
but
to
he's a
100%.
warrior, yeah.
So you guys were talking about Howie Roseman and Daryl Morey. And I know that's been a big talking point because Daryl Morey's had a tremendous offseason so far. We should not compare him to Howie Roseman just yet.
No, and Dave Dombrowski
win
and all
something
that.
first.
Exactly. You got to win something.
You got to win something. That doesn't mean Daryl Morey stinks.
No, exactly.
Daryl Morey is a tremendous general manager, and he still has to win something.
Correct.
It's like, he does. So don't compare him to Howie. Don't compare him to Dave Dombrowski. And that's not a slight toward Daryl Morey.
Not at all.
But you guys were talking about that, and then all of a sudden, Kevin kind of threw in a little nugget about the Eagles not having a good start.
He goes, well, I've got the Eagles going 1-3 or 0-4.
What? That's what I said in the car.
I said it right here. I said it right here. I'm like, okay. The one thing is that you got to give me. I'm a big one. You got to give me on reasons, not feelings.
Okay.
I don't give a damn about your feelings, and it is a character flaw of mine. I am not my daughter says I am not an empath or something.
Okay.
I don't feel a lot of empathy. If I can see somebody created their problem in life, the sympathy button just doesn't go off in my head.
When you're the one that created it yourself.
Correct. I mean, like the other day, there was Marcelo Ozuna. They were talking on the broadcast on the TV on Fox.
How he's overcome
so many obstacles and everything like that. And I said, yes, when you strangle your wife,
yeah,
and you get arrested for domestic violence, and you DUI, and things like that, yeah, I have no sympathy for you, and I'm certainly not going to freaking applaud you.
Right.
If you are a guy that, wow, you overcame obstacles that you created. So to me, I just look at it as I need to hear more than just your feelings. Well, last year was a disaster. Okay, I get it.
That is accurate.
It's now they got new coordinators.
That
And
is
I said,
accurate.
well, and what my point was is that there is nothing in the history in the 2 times where he has started as an offensive coordinator.
Kellen Moore.
That Kellen Moore has started out, that his teams have started out, hey, it's going to take a month. It's going to take 6 weeks. That has not been the case in either place that he started.
And by the way, it's not just 2 new coordinators; it's 2 established coordinators.
Exactly.
It's not Brian Johnson and Sean Desai. If somebody had this opinion last year,
right,
I would probably take more merit from it and
no
go,
question.
Yeah, you're right. Like Brian Johnson. I remember doing a show where I asked the question, "Are we talking about this enough?" And we weren't.
And he says, and I obsessed on it. Like Bob and Pat and everything would have killed me for it. I was obsessing on it.
Well, you were also a big Jonathan Gannon guy.
And I did not. I thought they were taking a huge step back at both coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things is that one thing I know with the history of Vic Fangio, when Vic Fangio goes into a situation, the one thing that he brings, he may not bring you an over-the-top performance defensively.
Right.
But he brings you stability and a level of professionalism and accomplishment that is much more in line of what this team needs.
This defense desperately needs it.
You just got to be this defense next year. I think they can go to a Super Bowl if the defense is just good.
Right. Absolutely. We said if they have a top 3 offense and top 12 defense.
If you told me top 12 is around where Vic Fangio shakes out for his whole career.
Right.
Ups, downs, whatever. Look, I just think they're better. I don't need to hear my feelings. Well, last year the feelings were bad because this team is. There's no tangible evidence that you should be concerned about the coordinator hires on the other side of the ball. Now, talent on the defensive side of the ball, and I know that's something that Bob Cooney talks about a lot.
He did.
He's got every. That to me is a discussion.
Right.
I'm worried. Bob's worried. I look at that defensive depth chart and I'm not feeling it, and I'm not seeing a pass rush.
Right. That's my biggest concern with this
team. And there
team.
are things like that I go, okay, those are legit reasons to have concern.
Right.
There's no reason to ever look at the Eagles and say, yeah, I could see 0-3, 0-4, 1-3. There's no reason to do that.
So we'll get back to the Sixers and Phillies, the fun topics, in a second. But
sure.
let's dive into this. Like, are we missing something? So I've told you guys, I believe that they lose week 1 of the Packers. I
still don't understand why you all feel this way.
I could easily be swayed. I can tell you right now, I could easily be swayed.
I will promise you this, and I'm not saying that you do things for radio because you do not.
I don't. No, I think that's.
But I believe by the day of the game, you will be thinking the Eagles
probably.
win.
And look, training camp's coming up, and preseason.
I think the Eagles are winning the game.
But I don't have them losing to the Packers because of turmoil from what happened last year. That turmoil is real. I am legitimately concerned about the relationship between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. I can't wait for 15 days from now.
15 days, first practice.
So maybe 15 or 16 days from now, Jalen Hurts will be asked about his lack of a response for Nick Sirianni a couple of weeks ago. It feels like a lifetime ago now.
He'll have an answer this time.
He'll have an answer this time. And he'll probably say that we made too much of it and that his relationship with coach is great. He might be lying. I don't care. Lie to me. Get that conversation done with. But I don't have those reasons as to why they're going to lose the Packers. But the Falcons and Saints and Bucks, you mean to tell me Kevin thinks that they could lose all 4 of those games?
Yeah, he thinks they could lose all 4 or could lose 3 of the 4. I think it's crazy talk. Again, it's absolute crazy talk to me. I don't believe it for 1 second, and I don't believe there are reasons to believe that.
And even with
because I stack up talent and just will go, and don't tell me about last freaking December. Last December is the complete outlier of all outliers for an organization that has been playing football for 95 years. It's an outlier. And I'm not arguing outliers.
And, John, not just last December. How about last year? The Falcons, Saints, and Buccaneers are in the same division. That was trash.
And it's the
NFC South came down to the final week, not because there were 3 12-win teams. It was because there were 3 teams that were 500 or below and had a chance to make the playoffs. And Kevin thinks that they could start 0-4?
I think what Kevin has is PTSD from last year. And Kevin is a respected reporter. He's a guy who's been around a long time. I think that there are things that are making the hair on the back of his neck stand up. I don't buy it. I don't buy it for 1 second. This team is going to the bye week. They will be 4 games in. They will be 3-1. And my thought is they're going to be 3-1.
If they're 0-4, Sirianni's getting fired.
Yeah, I know. No, he talked about that too.
Season's over. Like, honestly, the season's over. If you're 0-4, you're done.
He goes, in your scenario, John, I think that he goes, by your scenario, I think Nick Sirianni could potentially, he goes, would be fine. And I said, what's wrong with that? And he goes, well, then you'd have a lame duck coach, a guy who does nothing. And I said, sign me up.
Yeah, if they're winning, who cares?
Like, sign me up. I don't need titles. I don't need to hear look, it's about the win. Put the win in the win column. And I just don't get it.
That's amazing to me. He's the only person since the schedule has been released that I've heard with the Eagles with the under 500 record through the first 4 weeks.
Now, if someone
Now,
if someone says 2-2, okay, you can make the case to me.
Yeah, it's the NFL.
They lose a game over in Spain or where they
Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Who cares? I lost it.
And then they drop one of the 3.
And then they drop
the next 3.
Okay, I'm going to be okay. Like it's I'm not going to be burning down the building. 1-3, 0-4.
You're talking about firing coaches. You're talking about Jalen Hurts has not played well.
Then he's Nostradamus.
You're talking about Howie Roseman had a horrible offseason and we shouldn't react to on paper so much.
Kevin Cooney's Nostradamus if that happened.
If that happens.
And I don't believe that Kevin is, with all due respect.
Yes, I don't
but
either.
He's not, I don't believe that's the way
So I would love to get your texts on this. Let's ask this question.
What's that?
What is the reason if they do start 1-3, 0-4?
It's got to be catastrophic injury or something. It's the only thing I could ever see.
Right, because
Only thing
I can't think of anything. Like the defense, Bob Cooney, not Kevin Cooney. Bob Cooney is right about the questions defensively. Totally right. But I was driving around yesterday, as I mentioned, and I was listening to them on middays too. And I heard them do an exercise. Bob compared the players on this defense compared to last year, and whether or not you feel better, even, or worse. And he, Amy, and Ray were like feeling better with 7 or 8 out of the 11 guys.
Okay.
So then right away, even though Bob is questioning the defense, you still feel better about that.
But the thing is, though, is that there's a difference to the methodology. Bob goes through the exercise of saying, okay, and then maybe one thing I know about Cooney is he'll change his mind.
Right, once he starts thinking more.
Or he might not change his mind, but he might be more likely to he understands, okay, I understand why somebody's thinking this way. 1-3, 0-4, I freaking don't get. I just really don't get. And by the way, there's been nothing to say in the tenure of Nick Sirianni that this team won't be ready to play week 1.
Absolutely.
That week 1, his teams are fired out of a cannon, ready to play.
All right, let's get some reaction on that as well. Obviously, we're talking Sixers. Where are we at so far with this offseason? Today's my first chance to react to it. I feel great. I don't see how anybody cannot feel great right now. What's next for the Sixers? When it comes to the Phillies, we'll dive deeper into this trade discussion because I'm willing to trade the Fanatic at this point. What? Like anybody's on the table.
Where the hell are you trading me to?
Because this team is in a championship window, and you keep on increasing that window by getting better players. And when it comes to the Eagles, Kevin Cooney saying that they could start 1-3, 0-4, or he sees them starting 1-3, if not 0-4. What could possibly be the reason for that to happen, injury aside? It's Kincade and Salciunas. Your text coming up next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade and Salciunas, weekday morning 6 to 10. Conversations that will make you think.
747 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
That's a plane.
It is, and I was on multiple.
Were you on one?
I was on 5.
Oh, jeez.
Dude, so the flight out gets delayed, and I feel we're both Connor. We're both at Philadelphia International, but John's on the tarmac. I'm in the at my gate for 5 hours waiting to take off.
It's quite an experience.
We get to Frankfurt, and then of course the flight. We miss our connecting flight, so they book us to get to Estonia. We get to Estonia.
Not Queens.
No.
Not Estonia, Queens, because you could have driven there.
They get to Estonia. They lose our luggage in Estonia.
Oh, my gosh.
So we're in Lithuania with no luggage for 36 hours.
Oh, my gosh.
Fortunately, we had a change of clothes for Cooper. Christy was smart enough to pack one. All I had was a sweatshirt and sweatpants in case it got cold on the plane.
So what did you change into?
The sweatshirt and sweatpants. I went commando, man.
So you just let it roll.
I had to. What do you want me to do? Wear the same dirty underwear for
They
like
don't sell
48
underwear in
hours?
Lithuania?
They don't sell underwear? Like, I mean, honestly, you can't grab a pair of shorts and underwear?
All right. Can I
Go to
tell you?
There's
Lithuania
something.
Walmart.
Wait a minute.
Buy
Wait.
yourself a pair of underwear.
Connor, he's hiding part of this story.
No.
There's something in this story that's going to go on. What is it?
I don't like wearing like the right out of the pack. I like to wash it.
Oh, my gosh. You are such a serious.
Really?
My gosh. This is great. Wait a minute. You get new
If
underwear.
I get new underwear, I'll wash it before I wear it.
Connor, do you wash new underwear out of the
No,
pack?
why
I
would
do
I
not
wash it?
either.
It's
They're
new.
clean. They're new.
They're in the pack. They're
Okay,
I don't know.
vacuum
I don't know how
sealed.
clean they are.
The only thing that I know my wife does is sheets. Wash sheets before
Okay.
you put them on a bed.
I don't wash
Don't-
anything
don't
right
after
on
I
the.
buy it.
I'm
No,
going
wait,
right on the
you're not
crown
putting on-
jewels,
okay,
man.
do
Like,
you buy
know.
you buy a
You want to trade the
shirt.
crown jewels.
You buy
What
a
do you care?
shirt.
Yes,
You wash it
I'll
before
wash
you wear
it before, but I didn't this time because I out of desperation.
Jeans.
Yeah, I'll wash the
You
jeans.
wash the jeans before you wear them.
Well, if you go to the store, other people would try them on probably.
You don't like these shirts.
I don't wanna
You buy-
share your
You buy a
legs.
pair of golf shorts.
Yeah.
You go to the Under Armour store. You buy some golf shorts. You wash them before you wear them.
Somebody may have already farted in them. Like, I want to get them washed. Like, people try on clothes, so I want to wash them.
I honestly, when I tell you there are things in life, I've never heard this. So
You've never
wait.
heard it?
You get a T-shirt at you go to a Ross or a Marshalls.
Yes.
And they sometimes have like the soft tees and
It
things like that.
smells like store. Like, let me make it smell like Dawn first.
I swear to you, I can't.
whatever.
You washing Dawn?
no, not
Oh,
Dawn.
I was gonna say, or time
Dawn's
What
the
are you, a duck
that's
in
the
an oil
dish
sp-
I mean, seriously, this is fascinating. Let's not get too derailed with it, but I am fascinated. And if you think Andrew is a psychopath,
Oh, my
we
God.
will accept your text on this.
Bob Cooney says Andrew's absolutely right. You wash everything before you wear it.
Yes.
That's
Oh, wait a
crazy.
minute.
Here, I quick
That's
Google.
unbelievable.
The main reason to give your clothes a pre-wear wash is that there may be chemicals on the clothing that in high enough levels and with enough exposure over time can be harmful.
Okay, that's freaking ridiculous. This is seriously stupid.
You're right. You put on a fresh pair of underwear,
fresh
you're
pair
going
of
to turn
shirts.
into the
Oh, it's the
Incredible Hulk.
chemicals. I swear to
God,
you, we live in a
come on.
society today of people who are scared of their own freaking shadow. I promise you this, you're not getting freaking poisoned by putting on a golf shirt that you bought at the Under Armour
Yeah, but somebody
outlet.
else may have worn it, and that's gross.
Oh my gosh, that's really freaking weird. I've never heard of this.
Dude, imagine some stinky man wearing a T-shirt and
Guess
then going,
what?
I don't want to buy this, puts it back
If
on
I
the
pick
rack.
up a shirt off the rack and I go, you know your size. You pick up a shirt. If that shirt had an odor to it, I'm not buying it.
Also, buddy, every T-shirt I've ever worn, a stinky man has worn. I am a stinky
Yeah,
man.
you are a
stinky
stinky man,
man.
but you can't smell
I deal
yourself.
with it.
All right.
Connor can't smell himself.
Dude, I can't believe
I think this is
it's 2-1 in this.
all right. I can't believe that we are so diametrically.
Can you put
opposed
out a
on
poll? Don't
Yes.
skew it.
Yes, you can.
No,
Yes.
Vlad has checked in. He says, I'm with you washing everything first. So
Every
I'll-
single thing you
We'll
buy.
put out a poll.
Yes.
including you say underwear.
Of course,
socks,
underwear.
socks.
Yes. Yes. If it touches my body, I want it clean.
Okay, how about socks? Which, by the way, like socks, like the no look socks that you get and you buy them like 12 in a pack.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm washing
You're
them.
telling me no one could have tried them on.
I don't
They
know.
can't. Yes, they can. They're connected. You can't try them on. Why are you washing them?
Well, I'm cleaning them first.
I'm
man.
getting poisoned
All right,
by my feet.
Put a
People
poll.
are-
Put a poll out, Connor. I need this.
We live in a society today where people are scared of their
Dude,
own
I've been doing this
freaking
for
shadow.
my mom.
No.
My mom did it. Like, it's not today's society.
afraid of the sock. Like people, no, the thing that you read about being poisoned Like people are being poisoned by their
but
clothes.
I don't think that's where this comes
please,
from.
stop.
I think it's a cleanly thing, and I
Yeah.
think it bothers some people. Like
My mom was doing it 50 years ago.
I think it's insane,
and
but
Haley,
I don't think it's
and
new.
Haley says, as a young lady, she does not wash things beforehand. If it's clean, wear it.
All right, ask the people on Twitter. Put up
We
the
can
poll.
ask.
That's the real voting right there.
Oh yes, because a Twitter poll.
All right, Connor. As we get that up, what do we have on the text line with today's topics? The latest thing that we just brought up. Kevin Cooney said to you yesterday, I was listening driving around, and I literally was having a show.
Did you drive off the road?
No. I pretended like I had a microphone in front of me because I had to get ready for today.
Okay.
Yesterday was my rehab assignment. I'm driving, listening to you guys on the drive around the neighborhood. And Kevin said that the Eagles, he sees them. Not they could start. He sees them
1-3,
starting
0-4.
1-3, if not 0-4, which to me is completely ludicrous. What do we have on the text line, Connor?
Yeah, so we have a check-in now, a bunch of stuff on the Sixers and the Philadelphia Phillies still. And one of the things, people are coming after me for the take about, wait and see what happens with Paul George and them and all the issues that have gone wrong. So Ms. from Northeast Philly checks in and says, if you're going to live your life the way Connor is thinking, why even watch sports? There's nothing wrong with being excited and or feeling good about the moves the Sixers or any other team makes. Live in the moment and deal with the future when it gets here.
I mean, I think
Connor, though, one thing I know about Connor Thomas is he is reasonable.
Right.
I think you understand that gentleman or lady's point.
No, totally. And also, I never said I'm not excited about it. But now, with the Sixers, excitement has to be separated from success. That's the thing. When I see the Eagles make a good move, I get excited about it, then it plays out well more often than not, and I get to reap the benefits. When I see the Phillies make a good trade or a good signing, I get excited about it.
Right.
It normally works out. I reap the benefits.
yeah, Sixers are a different situation.
And I'm not faulting them. I'm not saying, they make the wrong moves. I'm saying I've seen them make the right move so many times and it inexplicably not work out that I'm done just blindly believing this will lead to success. I will get excited about the move in and of itself, but I need to see more.
Okay. Well, let's get more reaction to this. You can
And
text in.
I don't think you're being unreasonable with that. I got to tell you, though, I'm a little disappointed in you.
I'm surprised.
I'm surprised,
It's not
too.
so much disappointment. I'm shocked that Mr. Positivity is, keeping himself grounded all of a sudden.
Correct.
It's almost like he's growing up in front of our own eyes, John. It's unbelievable.
Our little boy's going to be able to go out in his own suit.
You can text and call in 610-632-0975. We quickly reset the show. Coming up next, we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas and the Lithuanian Eagles fans. I was amazed, John. Amazed. And the poll on whether or not you should wash your clothes when you first buy them. It's Kincade and Salciunas.
Ridiculous.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Wheeler takes the mound. I'm Connor.
97.5 The Fanatic. I hope you all have a safe trip into work today.
I did not do it yesterday.
Oh.
I got called out by Ed Casey yesterday for not doing it.
As you deserve to be called
And I
out
sent
for
along the memes of car wrecks.
Oh,
Like I was
because that's what
thinking
you
that
wanted?
I probably caused mayhem in car wrecks.
Hey, you don't want that.
No, I don't wanna
Absolutely
have it.
not. All right, so here's what we got on the table. By the way, coming up in 5 minutes, we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas. And I'm going to tell you how Lithuania all of a sudden is a hub for Eagles fans. And there's a reason why I quickly found this out in some conversations based off of a lack of a response.
Interesting.
I'll explain more coming up at 8:10. But today we've been talking a lot about the Sixers. It's been my first chance to really react to all the moves. And it seems like everybody's in a good place right now. I'm sure there's some people on social media. I have not really been on Twitter that much when it comes to Sixers talk. So when everything was first going down, what was it like for you here, John, while I was gone? Was it mainly excitement? Or?
I think it was overwhelmingly positive.
Okay.
At least, but that again is everybody's, and Connor can speak to this too, is that everybody's social media experience is different because your algorithm.
Yes.
If you're a negative person, your feed's going to be negative.
Right.
If you're a positive person, your feed's going to be positive. If you are a politically obsessed person, your theme, and they're going to know which way you vote, and they're going to know
exactly.
all, and they're going to feed you every fake story they can to tell you the other opponent's an idiot.
Right.
So my algorithm must be positive Sixers fans because I got nothing but, and even the comments I was seeing were very, very positive.
And I don't see how you couldn't be.
I don't understand
Connor,
it.
I get where you're coming from, Connor, with you're going to wait for the other shoe to drop.
But I was excited about the move. I'm just these things are separate to me. Being excited about the move and expecting a major level of success, those are things that are miles apart.
Right.
But I was excited about what the Sixers did signing Paul George, and I saw a lot of excitement too.
Yeah. I mean, and that's good. I'm glad that people are excited. I don't see how there has been a move so far where you can go, I don't like that move.
I think
everybody wanted Drummond. Nobody wanted him traded for James Harden.
I think there are people that are contrary to be contrary.
Okay.
And I don't think they're necessarily but I think it's just their mindset in life. They're contrary to be contrary. If we lived our lives, I've had cancer 3 times. If I got up every day and said, dude, I've had cancer 3 times, I've almost died twice, why even get excited about this upcoming year?
Right.
I'm probably going to get cancer again. I never understand the mindset of people who bad things happened, so now I believe bad things are going to happen. I personally believe and go, good things happen.
Right.
Last year I was in the middle of hell. Right now, I feel really good, and my life's very positive. So I just can't wake up in the morning and go, man, I've been cheated before, especially about something so trivial as baseball and football and basketball.
Right.
This is entertainment.
And it's a new look roster. When it comes to the Sixers,
it's not totally new. You haven't seen this before.
It's not, all right, let's run it back one more time with Maxey Harrison
it's not
and Embiid.
that.
If it was Maxey Harrison and Embiid and you wanted to have that opinion, I'd be like, yeah, dude,
That's how I
feel the
felt
exact
last
same
year.
way. But it's not. It's a brand new roster. And the only thing that you can really hold on to that would concern anybody, and it should concern you, is the health of Joel Embiid. And that's really it. And the health of Paul George, at least come regular season time. So we've talked a lot about the Sixers. The Phillies, I'm willing to trade absolutely everybody except for really Aiden Miller. That's the only guy I'm really hesitant to moving on from. But I trade any prospect because I want to win now. I can't think about 4 or 5 years from now when they might get called up. Bryce Harper will be 4 or 5 years older at that point. I need to win now, man, or in the next year or two, or the next 2 or 3 years. And Luis Robert, guys like that, does more for you in the next 3 years than Justin Crawford does. Justin Crawford, if he even comes up in the next 3 years, and when he comes up, he's going to be a rookie, and he's probably not going to make that much of an impact his rookie season.
Here's what I don't want to do. I always want to have a 3-year plan in life. I always want to have a 4-year plan. I want to have know that I've covered bases for things. I know that there is a succession plan for Schwarber, for Castellanos. I don't really know if we have one yet for Real Muto, but I'm believing that with Marchand, you got a chance to see some very positive things. Look, I need to know that there's a succession plan, And I don't just want to say, yeah, this is this is the one shot. I would tell you it this way. The team that was sitting in first place, you do not want to do this exercise. The team that had the best record in baseball on July 9th, last year, year before. I think that July 9th, remind yourself it's July 9th. We don't know what these teams are yet.
Right.
Because the best team on July 9th doesn't necessarily mean you're the best team.
Just because
it means
of
you
your
have the best record.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because the teams will be making trades at the deadline, especially some teams that are more desperate, or teams like the Phillies who you go, we are really good, but we can get better. And they legitimately can. Like center field is a hole. They legitimately can get better, and I don't think there's any debate with that.
No, there's no look. And no one is more Rojas'd up than I am, and I absolutely know you can improve from Johan Rojas. You can be better.
Absolutely.
If you tell me that I can be better, I don't have to make a long-term decision on Rojas at that point.
No, it doesn't have to.
I can but I can certainly mean if you get me somebody like a Cody Bellinger, I can make a decision to say Christian Pache, bye-bye.
Yeah, and I think everybody's just kind of waiting for that day to come at this point. All right, you can text in, call in 610-632-0975. We're also getting into the Eagles as Kevin Cooney, who was in this chair yesterday, said he sees the Eagles starting 1-3 to start the year, which I think is amazing that anybody actually believes that way. What could actually go wrong, injury aside, that leads them to a 1-3 start? I don't think there's anything, honestly, but let's try to talk about it. Maybe we're missing something, but it's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Hello, Connor.
What's up, buddy?
I haven't done this in like a week and a half. Let's see if I still got it. Let's start off with some action. Now, you guys kind of touched on this already, but it was the only Philadelphia sports action last night as the Sixers took the court in Summer League for the first time. They took down the Thunder. And this guy right here was the story of the night, Ricky Council IV.
They go outside, and right now the hot hand belongs to Ricky Council IV.
No fatigue for him. Bowling 21 points, 6 for 12 overall, 3 for 7 from 3.
11 points for Philly in the quarter, all scored off the hand of Ricky Council.
He was unbelievable. Now, I guess my question to you guys is, how much stock do you put into Summer League performance?
Not much, because I saw Ben Simmons be the greatest player in the history of the world in the Summer League, and he doesn't even want to play basketball anymore. I think Ricky Council's a basketball player. I think he's more than a two-way player. They guaranteed his contract so that he could be on the playoff roster because two-way players aren't allowed to be on the roster, so they moved him up. And I think he belongs in the NBA.
If you expect, it depends on expectation. If I see someone in Summer League look like they belong against other Summer League caliber players, I feel really good about it. When I see somebody that can't compete in Summer League, then I'm like, you got a problem.
So better chance for negative takeaways than positive.
Correct.
I can understand that.
Bronny.
What about Kyle Filipowski yesterday?
Oh.
Did absolutely nothing in his first Summer League action. I mean, look, I'm happy that he played well. I kind of expect him to play well. Like, imagine a second-year NBA player going up against a guy that's going to start his career in the G League. Like, I imagine that second-year NBA player is going to be much better.
Yeah.
There's just more talent. There's more time in the NBA spent. Like, I'm not surprised that Ricky Council went off yesterday, but it's a good sign that he's continuing to get better because he should be a part of this rotation, even though it might be the 9th or 10th guy.
That's about how I look at it. I was just interested in how you guys evaluate that. Now, there was some more basketball going on. We don't have any audio for it because there was no call or anything, but we saw some video. And Team USA played against the USA Select team. Outside of Cooper Flagg, it seemed like everyone on that other team was majorly mismatched. Your guys' thoughts on, can anyone beat or compete with Team USA?
No. Nobody can. I mean, look, there are some countries, like Canada is very good. They have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right?
Well, when you say very good,
Andrew Wiggins, too, Maple Jordan,
then they're not very good.
No, they're
not very good. If you're just telling me, I heard Michael Wilbon arguing on PTI about this. Just because you've got NBA players doesn't mean you're very good.
They still got Steve Nash up there?
I mean, seriously, the Canadian team, they're made up of an all-NBA players. Doesn't mean jack.
Right.
Look,
like-
we've invented now where Bronny James is an NBA player.
So
we've invented that.
Here's Team Canada. This is a legitimate squad. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the best player. Jamal Murray's on that team. Dylan Brooks is on that team. R.J. Barrett's on that team. Kelly Olynyk, who's an NBA player, but like Kelly
That's
Olynyk,
not a very good
right,
team that
First
you just said
LeBron
that.
James, like there's
that-
no debate.
Is that Canadian team? That's a play-in tournament team. If you were talking about putting the Canada team, if that Canada team played in Toronto,
Yeah,
they're a play-in
That's a
tournament
play-in team,
They may
yeah.
be an 8 seed, 9 seed, 10 seed.
yeah.
They're not very good.
But they'll be better than many other
Yes,
teams that
and
are
so
out there.
anyone who tries to tell you the mythology of the Olympics is going to be great basketball. Man, look, these teams have NBA players.
I love the Olympic.
That tells
I
you how
love Olympic
terrible it
basketball.
is.
Maybe don't watch Team USA. Watch the other teams. In all
Now, that
seriousness,
could be, maybe.
Olympic basketball is a ton of fun to watch because it's guys playing for their country and they might do like there's Luis Scola was like a superstar when it came to FIBA basketball and Olympic basketball.
This is one I'm going to count on you to do for me.
I'll watch for you.
'Cause I mean, I'll watch the USA.
I love this stuff,
I'll watch
man.
USA 20 minutes.
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
watch them beat Belgium by like 80.
Yeah.
That's what
no
I'm watching.
And they probably
for.
will.
I'll watch again. I'll tune in for a little bit and then tune out.
Sad day for me. Lithuania did not qualify. But let's move on.
Sorry, buddy. Last one here. The day's about to get sadder for you because you have some reckoning to come to. But here's something you talked about earlier with the Philadelphia Phillies and the prospects.
The Phillies need to spend big at the deadline. I'm just going to say it right now.
Need.
Because the window is freaking here.
The fact that you say need to me immediately makes me go, nope.
Okay, so
Need.
I am a greedy millennial son of a bitch. I don't care. Give me more, and there are players that are available, and you have the bullets in your chamber to get players because of the prospects that you finally have that you haven't had for like a decade. What's wrong with that? It's all true.
There's plenty.
I'm the only
There's
one that's
plenty wrong.
speaking
Plenty
fact.
wrong with
I'm the
that.
only one that is speaking fact on the show today.
Well,
It's unbelievable.
Let's do this because I want you to hear this, and I want the people to hear you hear this. Right now, the top 4 prospects in the Philadelphia Phillies system were listed on the 2024 yearly top 100 prospects list in baseball. Those 4 players are, in order, Andrew Painter, Aiden Miller, Justin Crawford, and then Starlin Caba was also on there at like 88.
I will tell you, I'm going to tell you right now, he will never play for the Phillies.
Okay, sure, fine. I want you to listen to some of the names because we're talking about 3 years down the line. I'm glad John said 3-year plan because I
Yes.
already looked at 3 years. 2021 top 100 prospects list. Let me read you some of these names. And this is not just the top 10. These are names of players that the Phillies are interested in now, that are all-stars now, that are
Okay.
capable players now. Adley Rutschman, right there. Jared Kelenic, Julio Rodriguez, Mackenzie Gore, Bobby Witt Jr., C.J. Abrams. These are all guys that were prospects then that are impact players at the major league level. Now, sure, there are guys like Christian Pache and Sixto Sanchez mixed in. I'm not saying everything's a hit. Let's go down further. At 20 and 21, you've got J.J. Bleday and Riley Green, 2 outfielders you would love on this team. Bleday is a guy you may look at trying to trade for if Brent Rooker isn't the guy. At 24, Tarek Skubal. He's in the Cy Young conversation in the American League this year. He was the 24th. Andrew Painter in this year, 19. You can get a guy. These guys come from somewhere. Go down lower. I mean, let's keep going further down the list. At 34, Randy Arozarena, a guy you might want to trade for this year.
Correct.
Was at 34. Let's go even further down. And let's look at guys like Corbin Carroll at 47. Let's look at Brandon.
Who sent us home last year.
Connor, there's prospects every year.
Yeah, but the
You're
thing is,
acting like you can trade all of these guys and they never work out. Brandon Marsh at 52.
I'm not saying they're never going to work out. I'm saying the stars that are playing right now do more
But
for
you're
me
talking-
over the next 3 years.
But you're talking about, and Connor's making the point perfectly, is that you're dealing with your PTSD from previously where this organization sucked at developing, evaluating, and other with talent.
By the way,
I
Corbin
don't believe-
Carroll's been trashed this year.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
last
not the
year he
point.
sent us home.
Yes, he
was part of sending us
as did that
home.
entire team.
I understand.
Let's
but
look
it's
at
still
this
there.
this way,
That's
because-
what you're asking for, right? You're asking for in October.
Yes.
You're asking for that. That's the kind of things that
But these guys,
are.
okay, but Corbin Carroll, that was 2 years after. Like, I'm talking about right now. I need guys that are available right now to make this team better. Luis Robert Jr. makes this team better right now. Starlin Caba does not. Justin Crawford does not.
You want Jazz Chisholm, right?
Oh, geez.
I said I would take Jazz Chisholm. I'm not trading Aiden Miller for him. I think that was ridiculous.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
He was the 65th overall prospect. Justin Crawford is the 55th overall prospect on this year's list. In 3 years, you could very well have Jazz Chisholm. or you could move him and other guys for a guy that's going to help you. Here's why it's
that's going to help me right now. A team that has the best record in baseball and should win the World Series this year.
I understand.
Not 3 years from now. Now.
But you're not being greedy. You think you're being greedy. You're not. You're being short-sighted.
You're being short-sighted. You're not being greedy.
John's being greedy. We can have both.
Right, and I want both. I'm tired of, we got a short window. Got to do it. Got to push everything in the middle. You do not have to. You do not have to the way the Phillies are constructed. And there are pathways out of the bad contracts they've got right now. There are pathways that are coming right to an end soon.
You can improve. You can keep these prospects. You can still improve the team. You can still be good enough. You can win a World Series this year, and you can not completely collapse the franchise when all these big contracts
One of the things that I also keep saying, you guys love the farm system so much, and I do too, because you actually have tradable assets this time, and you have potential legitimate pieces down the road. That I don't think Andrew Painter's going to suck. I think he's going to be good. I just don't know. He's already got he's already got injuries, right?
And by the way, it's 28 pitchers that have had 2 years of good health that have already been through Tommy John.
Okay, and
that
then
are
I
in
can
starting
give,
rotations
I can
all
give you
over
guys
baseball.
that have not.
I understand, but it's not. That can't be used as a. Boy, this is a big problem.
It can be used as a concern. Absolutely,
at his era, the players are getting Tommy John and being better than they were.
I will once again say Sixto Sanchez. He has since fallen apart.
Sixto Sanchez has put on 90
pounds.
He
was supposed to be the next Pedro Martinez.
He's put on 90 pounds.
Who knows?
It's nothing to do with.
We don't know.
Nothing to do with that. He's fat. Let's put it that way. He put on 90 pounds.
Wants to be Bartolo Colon.
I don't know what he wants to be.
But you guys love the farm system so much. Why can't they continue to replenish it? It's not like this is it.
No, you've finally gotten to a point where you have top prospects.
Aiden Miller got drafted, last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are you looking to ditch him already for?
He's the one guy I told you. He's the one guy that I don't want to ditch.
They can find these guys, but you push the timeline back. And the timeline, you don't have that much.
Your timeline's now, Connor.
No,
your timeline is right now. Their World Series are busting.
You're doing 2010 again, dude, and I'm not going to let you do it. You're doing 2008, 2009, 2010 again.
I got a World Series and a second World Series appearance and a third NLCS
You're talking about 10, 11, 12, which set this franchise into a death spiral for a decade.
Because they then could not replenish the farm system, whereas this regime, we love this farm system right now.
But they're still off. But Crawford's till 2026. Aiden Miller's till 2026. These are guys you're not talking about. They can replenish, but then you're going to have 3 years of garbage to navigate.
Well, no,
not doing it again.
Luis Roberts then here for the next 3 years, and so then 3 years from now, there's another
how many games is he playing?
Well, I know, I understand that's a concern.
And he's a young guy with injury history.
Okay, so then there's a bunch of other outfielders that you could trade for.
And I said, if you tell me Bellinger, I'm all in. I'm interested. But I'm also not all in and taking top prospects. I know where Connor fell on Bellinger. I'm very big on Bellinger. And we obviously, this show, we have a friend of the show connected that is connected to that situation, believes that this close could a Cody Bellinger be.
Right.
I like Cody Bellinger. I'm not moving one of the top 3 guys.
I'm not either.
No, you
I'm
might not,
and I don't think you have to.
Right,
I don't think you got to.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that's what I want to do.
I'm not sitting here saying trade Painter and Aiden Miller for Cody Bellinger.
Okay,
I'm not saying that.
If you tell me right now, much like if you went and bought new underwear today and you were afraid to wear them because of the poisoning that goes on.
We have results on that, by the way.
You could take Aiden Miller. How about this? If I said to you, take Aiden Miller and Crawford and put them on a shelf, and I'll even let you dangle it for the right person. I'll let you worry about it for, with an Andrew Painter in a deal. Are you willing to say, okay, don't touch Crawford, don't touch Aiden Miller?
Sure, I'll give you two.
Okay, then I'm much. I find that much more.
A collective unit.
I find that much more reasonable. Not on washing your clothes before you wear them.
All right, so what do we have on that poll there, Connor? If you're just tuning in,
yes.
I was telling John and Connor about my luggage was left in Estonia for 36 hours before I was able to get it in Lithuania. Because believe it or not many planes are flying into Lithuania.
Not Queens, by the way.
No, Estonia. Up on the Baltic Sea. In Europe. And so I did not go out and buy underwear. I went commando for the day.
The reason you didn't is because...
It's not the chemical thing. I just feel grossed out. But I want it clean from a washer before I put on clothes.
So the poll reads, let's make sure it's not skewed.
Yes, let's make sure.
An argument on Kincade Salciunas this morning. When buying new clothes, do you wash them before wearing them for the first time?
I don't think that's skewed at all. I think
That's not skewed.
Yes.
Okay, the options are yes, you're absolutely crazy, or no, I'm kidding. It's yes, wash then wear, or no, they're brand new. 65% of people are saying no.
I'm
they're
shocked.
brand new. You do not wash them.
I'm shocked at 65%.
You
I,
thought it'd
expect
be more?
I expected this to come in 80-20.
Well, it kind of makes sense because it's you two guys.
Right.
It's 2-1.
Well,
Exactly.
here's
That's
one
basically
too,
what it
though.
is.
So I put the question to my wife,
Okay.
and I said, Andrew washes every piece of new clothing, including socks, underwear, before he will wear it. Where do you fall in the conversation? My wife votes with Andrew.
I'm not surprised.
She
by
said,
your
I
wife.
think socks are extreme. I absolutely will wash all underwear, swimsuits, PJs, or anything before wearing them. Clothing like a blouse or something, not usually. But until Olivia started middle school, she washed everything before it touched her skin. I said, what, not for your hubby? And she says, you buy your own clothes and you put them away. If they're dirty, if they're in the dirty pile, they'll be washed.
Yeah.
There it is.
I throw them right into the dirty pile.
You're wild.
Because I am not allowed to touch the.
All right, we'll update this poll as the show goes on. All right, coming up next, I haven't gotten to it yet. The Lithuanian Eagles fans.
Can't wait for this.
Unbelievable, but it also stemmed off of something that made me sad. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
6:29 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Doctors are now checking in on today's show.
Yeah, just wanting to find out about one of my fine medical team wants to find out about that poisoning of clothes.
Yeah, there's a story in the New York Post.
Well, it's the New York Post. It's got to be true.
Well, no, they spoke with scientists from Procter & Gamble about it,
Okay,
man.
do you ever try on clothes in the fitting rooms? Jamal Hutchinson wants to know, does Chunas try on clothes in fitting rooms? Because if you do, the initial cooties are already on your body.
And then I go back and wash myself off. I go home.
Well, don't you take a shower after you wear clothes?
I normally don't try clothes on unless it's like dress pants.
Well, like for you,
Like I know if a t-shirt's a large, it's gonna fit.
here's the everybody know. Like to me, I'll get an extra large sweatshirt.
Right.
I'll get an extra large golf shirt or whatever. It's I don't ever shop for a size, especially if I know a brand. I don't shop for a size. But if you go to, sometimes you'll get stuff and things are cut a little bit differently. For you, it's a lot easier to just know that. But trying on clothes, I mean, you got to do that, right?
Depending.
No?
Depending. Like I don't need to try on a t-shirt. Like I
Like
really
you don't try on a T-shirt, exactly.
No, I don't
You
need
don't
to
need
do
to
that.
try on T-shirts at stores.
I try on everything.
You try on a T-shirt at the store?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now Connor, if you go to do you go to Marshalls, something like that?
Sure. Yeah,
okay,
sometimes.
go to Marshalls or a TJ Maxx or something. You try on a T-shirt there. You go to the changing room.
Yeah. Like,
Wow.
I don't know. Some stuff sizes differently.
Okay.
I like it to fit right.
Well, you like it to fit like you're
Yeah, you want it
like a sausage.
Yeah,
case.
you got a specific look to you. All right.
That is a look to it.
Welcome back.
Yeah, dude, it's good to be back. All right, so I'm walking around Lithuania, right? And I was sad at first, but then I realized what was going on. So, of course, I'm repping like Eagles gear.
Right.
I'm repping Phillies stuff, right? I was wearing a Phillies hat a lot. And I'm walking down the main street where all the cafes are. And there's a kid, probably around my age, maybe a little bit younger,
All right.
wearing an Eagles shirt. Now, this event, the reason why we were there was this big event, and it was the 100th anniversary of this event.
Giant festival.
Yeah,
right?
huge festival. So people from all over the world that are Lithuanian, that have some sort of heritage, are there. So there are people. I'm not the only Lithuanian in Philadelphia. Believe it or not, there's a community of us. So when I saw an Eagles shirt, I figured, all right, it must be
A kid on your trip, or
right.
from the
Another,
community.
and I just haven't seen him in a little bit. So I drop a "Go Birds."
What'd he say?
No response.
Well, that's
And I'm like, oh, dude, screw you. You're not a real Philadelphian. That you don't respond with
Go
"Go
Birds."
Birds." Like, come on. It happened like 3 or 4 more times.
not with the same kid, with different people.
Different people. So
Okay.
finally, the 4th person was at a bar. And I just said, "Go Birds." And they looked at me and they said, "Ka?" Which is what in Lithuanian.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, you don't speak English.
Why did they have Eagles stuff on?
Because the Eagles have become more of that international
You tell me
team, I
people
guess.
watch it? Like people watch in Lithuania?
I guess. I don't know. Like the NFL's huge, right? Like
Okay,
I know
it is
it's not.
huge.
I know it's not soccer. In terms of the globe, soccer is the biggest sport, and cricket is second. I believe.
Cricket's big. Yeah, it's really big.
And NBA or basketball is actually bigger than American football, but we know that American football is starting to expand. That's why they're having these games in different countries. We started watching. There was that under-20 football league.
All right.
China, I think, or was it China or Japan that beat up on the United States the other day?
China.
So they beat up on the United States. Like, it's starting to grow. And I wonder if more and more people, and oh, by the way, sports betting has reached Lithuania. So I wonder if I wonder if that's part of it too. It looks like the Eagles are growing more and more. And maybe this is exactly why Jeffrey Lurie wants to play week 1 in Brazil.
That's great.
To continue to grow the fan base in different countries.
Don't Mr. Lurie, if you're listening right now, please don't give away our best home game next year so we can go play a game in Lithuania. No.
Well, I would go on that one with Philly
I know
sports
you would.
trips. I'd set up the trip for
You
Vince.
kidding me?
But I started talking to the guy because I can speak the language. So I started talking to the guy, and I was like, "When did you become?"
And when you say you can talk the language, you can have basic conversation.
A little bit
Right.
more than
Okay.
more
Oh,
than
more
basic.
than basic.
More
Okay,
than basic.
good.
Like my it was just me, Christy, and Cooper for 3 days there before the rest of the crew got there, and we were
And you were
just
okay.
fine. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I start talking to the guy, and he basically straight up tells me, like, yeah, I started getting into the NFL not long ago. The Eagles were the best team, so the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Right.
And so I picked them to be a fan of. Like,
That's nice. I
very,
like that.
Very front runner, but like,
No, but that's great. There's no such thing as somebody adopting a sport in a foreign
like,
country.
If you're a
right.
Premier League fan from the United States, you probably picked the best team.
I would think.
Right, like you didn't pick the worst team of the Premier League hoping that they're going to rise through the ranks, and you said, oh, I was with them from day one. No, you're going to pick one of the better teams. So all of a sudden, the Eagles, I guess the NFL has recently gotten to Lithuania and probably other countries like that. I mentioned my pit stop in Estonia. Like, I imagine it's starting to grow a little bit out there. And teams like the Eagles, because they have been top tier over these last couple of years. Yeah.
They're a sexier team right now.
And it's like
Star quality's there.
All four, Kelly Green.
They all went Kelly Green.
They all went Kelly Green.
Now, that surprises me because that's new. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
that's,
they're new.
I know
they're
that's
new to the
But I
Eagles.
mean, but they chose the Kelly Green option.
Kelly Green, very close to the color of the Lithuanian
Oh,
flag.
well, then there you go, too.
That probably is a part of it. But is it cool to you, even though you don't want the game in Brazil? Neither do I. I don't want a week one major conference game like the Eagles-Packers game outside of Lincoln Financial Field when it's supposed to be a home game. But is it cool to you knowing that there are little countries like this that are picking up the Eagles as their favorite team?
I think it's fantastic. And I say the more the merrier. Like, is that I think the Eagles are a much better representation of America's team than Dallas is. And remember, Dallas
I didn't see a single Cowboy shirt out there, man.
And that's shocking to me. That is shocking. But I will tell you this, just seeing it from Toronto, Christina's still with you don't know that. I still do the Go Birds.
Yeah.
I had
You
Eagle
have
stuff.
to.
Saw people in Toronto, Go Birds. Got 2 Go Birds.
Good.
Vegas. It's easy in Vegas. I had Flyer stuff. I had Eagle stuff. Go Birds.
Yeah.
It's just, that's different. But Lithuania, that's freaking awesome.
If I said Einam Pokštukai, that's Go Birds.
That sounds very
but
personal.
I don't think they say that one out there all that much. Did you get that?
Sure.
See?
I got that.
I can throw it out there.
Proud of you. Look at you.
Yeah, you were very close on that. All right, what do we have on
Stop
the text?
trying before I have to dump something.
What do we have on the text line there, Connor? I'll let you know if you're cursing or not.
Yeah, this is a tough thing because our text line has been taken over by the washed clothes versus not washed clothes debate. So every 10 texts, one of them is sports got that. But I've got
it's July 9th, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's what is going on. Oh, by the way, is that still trending the same way in comments?
Actually, with the poll, you're looking at 62%. now.
So it's trending in my direction.
That's wild.
I can't wait for our crossover because with Bob Cooney, because I saw him during the break. He's as passionate as I am about this.
It's incredible.
But while we're on the Birds discussion, we have to check in here about the Eagles and a potential 1-3 start. And this texter says, for the Eagles to have that happen, they would have to have a poor to average defense, which is very possible, along with Hurts playing very poorly, not reading defenses, etc. Otherwise, this offense should overcome any issues of a bad defense as far as the regular season goes.
Well, I will say we said that exact same thing last year.
We did.
And it did not happen.
Yeah, but it also didn't lead to a 1-3 start. It didn't.
It led to a great start. 10-1 start.
It did.
Right. Like, Nick Sirianni has gotten off to really good starts as head coach of his team.
And by the way, his team's averaged 31 points opening week.
And this is coming from a guy who did not want him as a head coach this year.
the
will
two
say,
of you.
He's prepared largely to start seasons.
So if you're just tuning in, the reason why we asked that question, Kevin Cooney yesterday with John, you guys were doing the show yesterday. Me and Connor were out. And he all of a sudden just brings up that he thinks they're going to start I could see them going 1-3.
No, this is I have them going 1-3 or 0-4.
And
I honestly, you were driving.
Yes.
I felt like I went into a guardrail. I think it was just one of those cement embankments on the Schuylkill. I'm thinking, this is what is going on here? Who wounded Kevin Cooney?
And I don't see. Now look, to the texter's point. And we were trying to figure out what are we missing? What could actually go wrong other than injury that could go to
other
a 1-3
than catastrophic
start.
injury.
Right, because if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, so yeah, they might be 1-3 to start the season. But other than injury, what could actually lead to a 1-3 start? And this goes back to the on-paper discussion that we had months ago, whether or not we overvalue on paper. Dude,
Do you think we do, though, by the way, in general, as a fan base?
Well, we all thought they were going to the Super Bowl last year, and they didn't.
I think we tend to lean more critical than we do over the top gushing. That I think we got a lot of people here who live in fear that I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be
it could be
more than I had people going, man, we're going to the Super Bowl. I don't even hear it with Phillies fans.
Okay,
yeah,
fair.
The Phillies are sitting here on July 9th, best record in baseball, and I still have people that I can feel like, yeah, they're not totally bought in that it's coming.
But to the point on the text about the defense, like, yeah, the defense could be bad this year. It could be. I think it'll be better than last season. Now, that's not saying much at all.
Well, no, they were 30th.
Right. Like
if Vic Fangio, how about this? If Vic Fangio comes in and they're not if they're not in the teens,
okay,
I think that's a disaster.
Yeah.
Because I don't expect that to be the case, but I think that would be a disaster.
And if they're in the teens, against yes, Jordan Love and then Kirk Cousins, who has gashed the Eagles' defense in the past, even though he doesn't necessarily win all the time, but then Derek Carr,
no,
and then Baker Mayfield and the Bucks. Like, I'm not worried about those teams. I almost need to call up Kevin and be like, dude, really?
Like, who wounded you?
1-3?
He's packing for Disney, so don't be bothering him.
Like, 3 of those 4 teams stink. Or maybe not stink. I shouldn't go
they don't
stink for the... No, the Saints stink. The Saints actually stink.
So you think they stink?
Yes, and I think the Atlanta Falcons will be better this year than they were last year.
The Falcons
because of Kirk Cousins.
They're going to win that division.
They should have last year if Ritter didn't suck.
They're going to win that division, and it means nothing to me.
Right, because if they win the division, they're not going to win. They're not winning anything in the playoffs.
It doesn't bother me at all.
They're going to win the worst division in the league award.
Correct.
Like, that's what they're going to end up winning. 1-3 is astonishing to me. So let's get more of your reaction on that. 610-632-0975.
By the way, in his defense, he had them finishing 10-7 and winning the division.
So he had them going
10-7.
9-4.
I tried yesterday. I went back because one of our listeners said it. I tried to find 7 losses on the schedule. I cannot.
So he has them playing better in the more difficult part of the schedule.
Yes.
All right. But if they're 1-3, dude, Sirianni might be fired.
Correct. Like, you're digging out of a hole.
All right. Also, coming up next, I'm very happy to be back, but I almost did not come in today. And it was almost a late decision. Because Cooper was already in bed yesterday. So I decided to check Instagram, and I saw a video of John Kincade.
That's enough to make it.
And I almost didn't come in. John, you better watch yourself. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Bill Colarulo.
The potential is certainly there that this offensive line can...
driving on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Show number 82. So it keeps on counting even though one of us is gone.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, they're still having shows.
That's true.
which is
they haven't kicked us off yet.
We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for being a part of this ride. Show number 82. We're nearing 100. I can't believe it.
That
by the
usually
way,
means like cookie cake or something. Every 100. So do something.
I told you, 10 birthdays here. I haven't even seen like a freaking pretzel. It's unbelievable.
I never get birthdays because I'm December 23rd, and I always will usually spend it at home.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You're usually not here.
Spend it at home.
All right, by the way, check out the Fanatic Deal of the Week. Speaking of awesome, get a $50 gift card to the Artillery Brewing in Drexel Hill and Westchester for just $25. So we've done a couple of
I
these.
know the place, and it's good.
So you're going to get $50 for just the price of $25, basically an
Great
extra
deal.
$25. You can experience the spirit of the American Revolution at Artillery Brewing, where history meets exceptional craft beer. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. So I've talked about some in my neck of the woods. You got a good one here with Artillery Brewing.
Yeah, it's really good. You'll enjoy it, too.
So
Lot
check
of
it
fans
out. You
in the
get
area.
$50 as long as you pay $25, 975thefanatic.com/deals. All right, I got a bone to pick with you.
Okay. The fact that I bought this shirt and I didn't wash it first?
Yeah, well, that's disgusting.
Okay.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Okay, all those poisonings that are... Okay.
It's not even the poison. It's
Okay.
just the fact that some
I got
sweaty
you.
man may have worn it before you.
I wouldn't pick it up if it is. You can tell if somebody's sweating it.
I don't know. Might sit out for a while and
There you go.
whatever. You guys
All
are
right.
disgusting. You guys are foul people. So, John, I'm on Instagram yesterday.
Yes.
Which, by the way, Instagram and YouTube is on my side about the clothing. It's just Twitter that's on your weirdo side.
And that's fine.
So Twitter's I've
fine.
always said Twitter's
I'm
a
gonna-
cesspool of a
I'm
place.
going to-
So figures that the cesspool is the smelly, gross side.
I'm going to give you your dynamics on that one. You can take that win.
Thank you very much.
All you want.
I need it.
Take it all you want.
So I'm scrolling through Instagram yesterday, and the question was, which one's like the best Sixers jersey?
Correct.
And it's not that you didn't agree with me. It's the fact that you went out of your way
Yes.
to say that it's not the Iverson era black jersey that Tyrese Maxey was showing off in that video the other day.
I was in. Yeah, I'm weird like this. When a color is not even part of your team color scheme, it's never going to be your best uni to me. When it's not even your color scheme, like the Philadelphia Eagles black jersey.
I love the blackout, man.
Oh my, no.
Me too.
I love the
jeez.
blackout.
The black jersey to me, it's not your color.
So?
I like
They got the green in the sleeve.
I like team color. I like the team color.
Is
the black,
white one of the Eagles' colors?
yeah, they're white, they're silver,
Is it?
and they're
though?
green.
Or
Yeah,
are
white,
they-
silver, and green.
Are they more green and
no,
silver?
they're white, silver, and green.
Okay, interesting.
And their
I
colors,
thought it was green and
is-
silver from the
they're
beginning.
not just green and silver.
Is
They have white in there too.
one of the Flyers' colors?
They're orange and black, and yes, there's white.
But they wear white sweaters, but they're literally called the
But
orange and black.
and
Not
the
the
orange and
orange
black
and the
is
black and
the
the
orange
white.
and
Right.
black is what's prominent.
It's
That's
almost
what
like
stands out.
every team could
The
rock a black or a
no,
white jersey
the
because they're
blackout-
solid
That's
colors.
fine. The blackout thing is fine. And again, and I thank Kevin Kincade from Crossing Broad with the same take. He goes, it's nostalgia.
Okay.
That's
part of it.
That's different. There's loving that era, which by the way was fun. That was a fun glimpse of time. It wasn't the jersey.
But you went out of the way to basically make it seem like it was the worst jersey. There have been worse Sixers jerseys.
Oh, there have been. There's that
the
boathouse
weird
row thing.
star. Oh,
The
yeah, the
boathouse row thing was
row,
terrible.
The new Philadelphia. That thing was awful.
I do like PHILA better than Sixers being spelled out.
I'd rather Sixers than Phila.
I say I don't mind the filler, especially in the script. I've enjoyed that in a couple. I've liked that. I loved the throwback to the Spectrum edition because it definitely plays to my demo, and also having worked in the Spectrum, there's a fondness for the Spectrums.
Yeah, but that
means to me.
navy blue isn't Sixers colors.
Sixers blue and red. I need blue and red.
But the navy blue is not the Sixers. Like it's not the Sixers blue.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
So it goes
it's not
against what
black.
you're.
No, but
it goes
not-
it's close to black. It's
No.
navy blue.
No, black. Blue is blue, and there are different shades of blue.
Aren't you
Black
shade
is
blind?
not. I am shade
Yeah,
blind.
but John, if
I can't tell. I need hangers in my closet. Full disclosure, I have hangers in my closet that say black slacks.
okay,
brown versus green.
I apologize for your lack of visual.
Yes.
But if an Eagles team ran out there with lime green.
No, but like the Eagles wear the black jerseys.
Yeah, but you're saying green is green, blue is blue, black is black. So if green is green, then the Eagles should wear a lime green jersey this year.
No, the Eagles, they already do this. They got the midnight green, which is the Eagles color, and then they have the Kelly green. They're two different greens.
No, but what I'm trying to say is you say that navy blue is blue, so that navy blue still works with the Sixers jersey. So then you might as well wear a lime green. They might as well look like a Sprite can out there this year, the Eagles, and you'd say, oh, well, it's green, so it's fine.
Go into your local rally house. There are shades of green that you can buy Eagles gear in that have nothing to do with the midnight green or even Kelly green.
Okay.
Because green is Eagles color, and they will pick something that'll be a little shade off. The black is not black jerseys are to me is a nothing but the gimmick of blackouts and things like that.
Okay, but it wasn't
nobody.
Hold on a second. But hold on a second. It wasn't just black. It was also they had the blue version, they had the white version, they had multiple different colors. It was just the star with the basketball and it said Sixers on the front.
You know what I rarely ever see? The people that will be going out of the way to sport the black Eagles jersey.
That's basically all I buy.
And it's strange is that there's very rarely do I ever see it on people.
My dad loves the black Eagles.
It's the best one.
If you're talking about percent, it's not.
It's the best one.
It is I guarantee it's not as sold. Like, people don't buy it like that.
I imagine after the Super Bowl, it's been mainly midnight green because that was the jersey that they wore when
Kelly
they won
green
the Super
last
Bowl.
year.
Yeah, because it's new, so they brought it back.
But people used to buy Kelly green even when it wasn't Kelly green.
All right, well, people probably still make the Sixers jersey with Maxey on the back.
The Sixers black jersey is it's a throwback to an era. It's a mentally, this is great. It's not the jersey.
Dude, it's a great look. Well, did you like the blue and white ones?
I didn't really dig it that much.
Well, you just said if it's red, white, or blue, you're happy.
No, I didn't say they're my favorites. I said I told you what my favorites were. It's got to be red and blue.
I was like, dude, I almost didn't come into work today. When I saw that this guy's anti-Iverson era jersey, I almost didn't come in.
Not my favorite. I can tell you that much.
Talk on the program.
Oh yeah, big close day. At least that was jersey talk. All right, coming up next, we reset the entire show. Also, we haven't really talked much Phillies Braves because it's not something to be panicking about. Okay, the Phillies are missing 4 out of their 9 starters right now. 3 due to injury and 1 due to he's not on the roster yet when they eventually trade for a center fielder. But coming up next, we'll preview Phillies-Dodgers a little bit, and I want to know, more lighthearted, how many are you going this week just to see the Dodgers in town? You can text in, call in 610-632-0975. It's Kincade and Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic. Hope you had a nice, safe trip into work today. Want to let you guys know, we know that FanFest is coming September 28th at Xfinity Live, presented by our friends at FanDuel. Been telling you about that a lot. But we have a ticket raid coming up Tuesday, July 23rd. I know that's 2 weeks from now, but you want to mark the calendar now because I do know these ticket raids go fast. So our next ticket raid will be Tuesday, July 23rd at 9 a.m., 975thefanatic.com. Obviously, you know FanFest, huge party, biggest party of the year for Philadelphia sports fans, and I can't wait to hang out with you all.
Can't wait for it.
FanFest number 11 all of a sudden, which is absolutely amazing.
I love the fact that it's September.
Yeah.
Just
a little bit more
August
comfortable.
Is so freaking hot.
Yeah, a little bit more comfortable. Dude, by the way, I escaped this heat that you guys had.
Well,
it's like 95 degrees every day I was going.
Okay, I don't want to mock. But this heat
and
the incessant 24/7 coverage of it on the news, I got to tell you.
Yeah, but John,
I mean, it's
not what people here are used
Andrew,
to.
Seriously, though. We make fun of people in other parts of the country when they, panic about snow or panic about... I'm telling you, this is 3 months a year minimum for people in the South.
Okay, well the people
every day.
The people
Sorry,
that live
Atlanta
here
stinks.
don't live in the South.
No, but I mean, it's not that big. But it's not that big a deal to deal with this
here.
heat. What is the big deal?
Dude, when you
I don't
live,
know, man. It's
when
hot.
you live in Manayunk, like I did for 7 years, and you have a wall unit, and it's 99 degrees outside, and it feels like 104 in your house. Yeah, it sucks.
Make sure your wall unit's really good then.
I didn't own the houses.
Or your window
I didn't
unit.
own the houses. I was paying rent.
I mean, seriously. Now you're going to go to the furthest outlier. They're like, okay, here's what you need to know when you're outside in this kind of heat. I think people know. If you don't know, I worry about you as a grown person.
Yeah, you should drink water and try to stay cool. But there are some people that can't stay cool.
And if they are, then they're the people. They know, like people who work outside. They know this. Roofers. They know how to deal with it.
Right. Yeah, they do.
Yet I personally, I don't need to see the story.
But John,
in the news
if an average temp is 90 degrees, but all of a sudden it's 99 for 3 days straight, it's hotter than what you're accustomed to.
It is, and
just because you're used to it from the South doesn't mean that other people aren't.
And when it's 20 degrees and we're used to 40,
yeah,
you deal with it.
Wasn't there a heat advisory in London not that long ago because it was like 75 degrees?
Maybe.
They don't have AC units out there, so it's different areas.
It's different here. It is not as big. I saw a story about how to deal with if you have to spend time outdoors this weekend on the news.
Yeah, but
if you have to spend time outdoors this weekend, if you're an adult and you don't know, I worry about you.
You're like the people who complain we talk about the Eagles so much. It's like this is the big weather story. If you cover weather, this is the story, right?
I would say it's the created weather story.
Well,
sometimes
the Eagle stories are the created Eagle stories.
Listen, man, it was hot this week. I was glad I was able to escape.
Oh man, just look, stay out of the sun.
That's
don't
all.
let prolonged sun. Hydrate.
Yes.
Do those kind of things.
I like to see it.
Wear loose-fitting, light clothing that you've washed.
That you washed
As Andrew would tell you to do.
You buy them. That's what you
I think you got that. We've done your public service.
All right, we're going to get back to the text line in a little bit, but Phil's Dodgers begins tonight. Zach Wheeler on the mound. Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, Aaron Nola.
That's a great setup.
So awesome for the Phillies to have these marquee games against the Dodgers and to have 2 of their horses on the mound, and then Christopher Sanchez, who's been tremendous.
Wait a minute. I thought you were going to say 2 of their horses on the mound, and then you were going to say an Aaron Nola.
No, and Christopher Sanchez. But, I mean, Sanchez has had a better season than Aaron Nola
I'm more comfortable with Sanchez and Wheeler than I am Wheeler and Nola.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just look at the numbers alone, but Nola's still one of your horses. He's paid to be one of your horses,
Well, that's
too.
what it is.
And he's pitching, Lou, he's pitching pretty well this year. I know he's had a couple out. The reason why his ERA is 3.48 is because he's had some ballooned out. He's just like Rangers.
He's your 4th best starter this year.
So, yes, statistically, but he's going to be
No. He's your 4th best starter, period. Don't get into statistically. He's been your 4th best starter.
Well, that's just not. It's not the whole story.
Like,
that's
if I were to say Aaron Nola, if I was to say Aaron Nola,
is that a false statement?
Statistically, Aaron Nola's been your 4th best starter.
Has he been your 4th best starter?
Well, it depends what you're evaluating.
Okay, tell
right?
me then. What are you talking about?
Well, if you're going into a playoff series, I'm starting.
No. This season, we're not talking about the playoffs.
Well, John,
we're talking about this.
Easy, John.
Go on.
When we talk about the best starters, part of that conversation is who would you start in biggest games?
Well, I'm talking
You
about
might
the
not.
season. I'm not talking
You
about
might
October.
not,
You
but
might
that's
not.
how we're evaluating. You're asking how we're evaluating. Some people will look at your best starters as the one you start in
Fine.
biggest games.
Forget the playoff thing. Today, you want the Phillies to win today. Who do you want on the mound? Aaron Nola or
Sanchez.
Christopher Sanchez? I would say Aaron Nola.
I want Sanchez.
And I think there's a fair discussion on either side of that.
Yes, there is.
I think the numbers clearly are on my side.
Again, statistically.
Because
yes, the numbers. It's just a different word.
It's performance. Are you serious? I'm like having this conversation in a vacuum.
Yeah, but it's not
There's
like Aaron Nola has an ERA of 9
I
this
didn't
year.
say he did, so don't make an argument that I'm not making. He's their 4th most effective starter this year. Period. It's not a slam. It's not well, if you interpret statistics, he is. No, he's been their 4th most effective starter.
Right, but
It's not a question.
I understand. It's just there's a bigger sample size to say Aaron Nola is still a good pitcher. And
I
still
didn't
might
say
be the
he's
guy
not.
you
No.
want.
Now you're making false
John,
arguments.
You asked us how we're evaluating it. We're evaluating it
No.
a different way than you are.
I
That's why
didn't-
this conversation exists.
I didn't ask you that. I said, is he their 4th best starter this year?
Okay, and we're saying we evaluated it a different way than you.
Yes.
No, is he or is he not? It's a yes/no.
You could make the case
you
that
could make
he
the case
has
that
No.
this-
Is it a yes/no? Yes.
It's not that simple.
No.
It's not.
Okay.
It's really not.
With
that
statistics, it
simple.
might be.
Yeah.
But in
Oh my God.
actuality,
And
it's not.
statistically,
Well, wait a minute.
he has been your
Actuality. Tell
fourth
me.
best.
Tell me what actuality the statistics are misconstruing.
Okay, actuality, let's talk matchup. Actuality, let's talk experience. Actuality, let's talk righty-lefty. Actuality, let's talk
No, we're talking his performance.
Oh my
I'm not
God, John!
talking
All
about
of that
the
is
philosophical.
performance.
Okay, his performance has been the 4th best starter.
His
Period.
statistics.
No.
Look, Christopher Sanchez won Pitcher of the Month of June,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
While I was gone, so congratulations
Very,
to Christopher
very good.
Sanchez.
Can't even. I mean, a headache with this. It's not analyzing
There was a
anything.
point at one
Listen, it's a
point
two-way
in
headache.
time where we were talking about keeping Spencer Turnbull over Christopher Sanchez in the rotation.
No,
At
you were
one
talking
point,
about. No, we were not happy with the fact that you had to keep Walker in the lineup.
Right, but then we
That's what
also
we were talking
debated
about.
whether or not it should have been Sanchez or Spencer Turnbull. And at the time, Spencer Turnbull had been pitching better than Christopher
And you
he
guys
was.
both
And it-
argued Turnbull
Yes,
over Sanchez.
and I
until
did.
you, because at the time it was.
And I
when
argued
you-
Sanchez.
But nobody's arguing with Aaron Nola. Nobody.
And no one was arguing Nola should be the one to leave the rotation.
And nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying he's having a terrible season. Nobody's having a. You know what he's having? An Aaron Nola season. He's having an
Yes,
Aaron Nola season.
and I will take that because it's
Okay.
it's still very good, and it's better than it's much better than last year.
I did not say he's not good. There you go.
But Phil's Dodgers. Now I want to ask this question because I know you guys didn't. How much stock are you putting into this series?
I think it's important. I think it's an important series,
But it's the same-
especially if you're getting back.
If you're getting back,
It looks like if you're getting back Schwarber and Harper in this series, then I think it is important, big time. Plus, I think you want home field advantage if it's the NLCS, so this will matter.
right. But if they lose, and let's say Brandon Marsh is your cleanup hitter again for 2 of the 3 games, are you going to say, "Oh my God, the Phillies
'cause
aren't as good as the Dodgers"?
I didn't with the Braves.
Right.
How about this? If their starting pitching gets rocked by the Dodgers, yeah, that'll concern me. Because that has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with the fact, that's the only concern that I take out of the 2 Braves series, is the fact that the Braves have rocked you. 4 of the 6 games they played this year, they've embarrassed you.
Yeah, and they rocked
That
you
concerns
last year and the year before that.
Not as lopsided as they have this year.
Okay.
It's been a lopsided lot.
I don't know, man. They had a couple series in 2023 where I remember one where they hit 7 home runs in a doubleheader.
I am
against
not-
the Phils.
Yeah, didn't the Phillies have Garrett Stubbs pitch against the Braves? There was a position
Getting
player at one
trashed.
point.
I would be, if they go out and if the Dodgers rock Wheeler or the Dodgers poke holes all full of Sanchez, the Dodgers knock around Aaron Nola. Yes, that's something that in the back of my mind will bother me.
Would it?
Yeah, it would. It really would. It would bother me. Not would be.
But
not
once
would be where
Wheeler, once
not where
Wheeler
I'd be
pitches
saying,
Game 1 in the NLCS against the Dodgers, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, I'm nervous about this game because of that game in June or July."
We're talking about performance against a certain lineup. We're talking about matchups, as Connor said. We're talking about history. That would matter to me.
So let's say Zach Wheeler pitches against the Orioles in the World Series. Are you worried?
I would, in the back of my head, I would go, yes, I
'Cause he
saw
got-
Zach
he
Wheeler
got rocked against
get
them last
knocked
time.
around by them. Yes, I would, absolutely. It would be one part of concern. Concern that they couldn't beat them? Hell no. But concern about the matchup, do I think that this is as big as a Wheeler start should be a huge advantage?
It should be.
I would look at it as if I saw them start against the Orioles, in the back of my head, I'd go, well, there's some concerns against the Orioles that it won't be your normal return. That's what I would say on that. but I'm not concerned about if you lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, I'm not going to lose any sleep.
No, nobody should. And I know there have been people that have lost sleep recently over the Phillies' disappointing series against the Atlanta Braves.
There wasn't a lot. There really was not.
I don't think it was too much.
No, there really wasn't.
But even if somebody was, like, why?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, this
I
was
don't get it.
this was the Phillies lineup on Sunday. Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, Alec Boehm, Brandon Marsh was your cleanup hitter. Nick Castellanos was your 5-hole hitter. Cody Clemens was your starting first baseman batting 6th. Whit Merrifield batting 7th. Stubbs was your catcher, and Johan Rojas was in center batting 9th. Like, that's not good.
And Mercado was not good at all.
No, he wasn't.
He couldn't even throw strikes.
No, but that lineup is horrible.
That's a
because
horrible
you're
lineup.
missing 3 of your starters in Real Muto, Harper, and Schwarber, and Johan Rojas will not be your center fielder come trade deadline.
The one thing I would say to you on the Braves front, they're missing 2 of their starting 8 for that series against the Phillies too.
Okay.
And their top starter. So I mean, when we talk about what you're missing, well, you're missing 2 of your 3.
You're talking about like Acuna and Strider?
The Acuna, Strider, Michael Harris Jr. too.
Right. But Acuna and Strider aren't coming back. So
No,
I don't
understand.
care who
No,
they're
but I
missing.
understand.
Right.
But when you're talking about them being missing, they're missing key parts. Hey, we're getting Harper back. We're
Right.
getting Schwarber back. We're getting Real Muto back.
Yeah.
They're not getting them back.
Right, but they were missing Acuna as their leadoff hitter. The Phillies were missing their 1, 3, and 4 hitters. That's the juiciest part of your order.
It's
Like,
very
the Braves
juicy.
still had everybody else except for Acuna.
Except
Like,
for-
they still had
I got you.
They still
I got
had
you.
everybody.
I'm just saying I don't want to get into there's too long we were missing people. Everybody misses people. This has been disastrous.
Well,
this 2 weeks has been
this is
has
horrible,
been disastrous.
Yeah. I mean, you're literally
And
missing your 3 of your more productive hitters.
what's great about it is I think they're 4-3. Connor, is it 4-3 without them?
I believe so.
yeah, because Trey Turner's
that's-
been on a freaking tear.
Trey Turner's been outstanding.
And he's
Absolutely
one of your
outstanding.
starter, your all-stars, which is great.
Really good. And more importantly, when you lose those players and you go 4-3, if you're concerning yourself with it, you could take away individual matchup concerns. But if you're concerned about the team going 4-3 without those players,
Yeah.
I'd say that's a best case scenario.
And let's say they miss the series, which, by the way, I would be totally fine with them not playing in the series. Unless the doctor's 100% medically cleared, they're good to go.
I'm telling you this, if one of them gets hurt coming back,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to I'll be annoyed.
Like, I would honestly...
They sat Trey Turner out, and they admitted it. Extra time with this same type of injury to make sure that it wasn't going to flare up again.
Right.
You've got a big gap in time. You could give them off until the 19th of July.
You got the All-Star break.
You have 10 days.
Honestly, man.
You have 10 full days. I don't understand it. I'm sure that Bryce is gung-ho to play in the All-Star game. And that's part of it.
Well, and
I guarantee it. And
He can.
I admire his fire and I admire his fight. I'm sure he wants to be there against the Dodgers, too. I'm sure he wants to be in against the Dodgers. The primetime action, the excitement. I'm sure he wants to be there. And I admire the work ethic.
Me too.
But sometimes players should be protected from themselves. If the doctors say he's fine to go, though, I don't know. I didn't see the x-rays or anything. I got to trust it.
But I would also say that this series in July, to me, has nothing to do with September and October.
No
and
question.
That's why I would take my time. I think when you were...
You would put him back in, or you
take your time.
These injuries happen. Were you out when the injuries happened?
I was on a plane and I watched it.
Okay.
I watched it. I watched it happen on a plane flying to Vegas.
So Connor and I had... That's right, because we talked to you on Friday about it.
Oh, it was miserable.
I think Connor and I had the exact same take of... when it's 4 to 6 weeks, make it 6 weeks. Like you're at the stage right now where if it's 4 to 6, you're doing so well with your division lead. You still have the best record in baseball. You're still finding ways to win games because you have depth on this team. If it's a 4 to 6 week injury, make it 6 weeks.
I am the same exact way, and I hope that Bryce Harper's just not rushing back for the All-Star game.
Well, here's the thing: if he wants to play in the All-Star game,
I'll be all right
He can
with
play
it.
in the All-Star game
As long as he's medically cleared.
When was the last time anybody ever got hurt in the All-Star game?
I think
No, if you have a
last year.
hamstring injury, you
Who?
could.
Somebody got hit by a pitch, and
Okay,
But if you're a
that's the
hamstring,
thing,
no,
like-
but coming back off a hamstring injury, you absolutely can get hurt in the All-Star game.
He's not trying to take two in the All-Star game. He's not trying to like swing out of his shoes. He's not trying to make a dive.
you don't think Bryce Harper
isn't going to try to swing out of his shoes?
I remember Matt Breen on these airwaves predict a Bryce Harper home run in London because he wants to show people what he can do.
Absolutely.
He will 100% swing.
Connor,
Dude,
come on.
he will 100% swing out of his shoes in the All-Star game.
100% guarantee you if Bryce Harper plays in the All-Star game, he comes out of it healthy.
Okay, and that's
can
fine,
you-
but
how
that
can you
doesn't
do
mean he's
that?
going to go up there and put the bat on his shoulders. No, that dude loves the flair
He
for the
loves
dramatic.
it.
I understand.
He knew that he was going to do that soccer slide celebration in
He
London.
practiced that.
If he does
Absolutely.
play in the All-Star game, he's going to be okay.
That's fine. I'm not worried
I'm
about
more
that.
worried about him coming back if he comes back tonight
Now that's
and re-aggravate
that's
something.
dumb. Like I don't want him.
No,
back
I think it'd be
playing
dumber to
baseball.
come back in the All-Star game and re-aggravate than to come back against the Dodgers.
It's kind of
and
like your Joel Embiid Olympic thing.
right.
Like,
I mean, again, is that Joel Embiid doesn't need rest, doesn't need anything. So I hope that this where he doesn't need his summer off. I hope that next fall we're going to see more of Joel Embiid.
let's go to Graf and Media. Let's talk about the Phillies and the All-Star break. What's up, Graf?
Guys, there's no reason to bring these dudes back. I've been resigned to the fact that I won't see Bryce Harper again until after the All-Star break. Is there really conversation about him coming back today?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
there's no point.
He might come back tonight. He might come back tomorrow night.
You got 58 games in the win column. You're 7.5 up on the Braves. What are you doing?
How about
What are you doing?
you know what matters to him though too, and I don't blame him. MVP matters to him.
I mean, I understand, but at the same time, like, isn't Shohei like on pace to definitely take over that MVP?
Shohei is the odds leader in MVP, but he also, to me, he doesn't play the field,
And that's a big
So I have
point.
no
No,
idea. I have no idea how he would be
That's
ahead
a
of
good
Bryce
point.
Harper. None.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking in my mind too, especially with the rate that Bryce Harper was running at. Like when I was looking at the stats before Harper got hurt, I was like, "There's a real shot this guy's going to win another
Have we
MVP."
had a designated hitter MVP?
In the National League, no.
Not in the
No.
National League. In the
Didn't Edgar Martinez win an MVP?
I think Ortiz might have won, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
probably.
He's definitely
Yeah, I
won
mean,
one.
to me, Ohtani over if Harper goes and gets back in here and plays Graf to his level, I think it would be an abomination if they gave the MVP to a guy who just bats. Because Harper
Yeah,
has
just
been
bats.
fantastic
Yeah.
in the field.
I agree with you, especially playing a brand new position at
Yes.
first base, position he's never played in his life professionally until like this season full time. I got a question for you. We've been talking about a fifth starter. What happened to Andrew Painter? Like, is he hurt? What's up?
Yeah.
He's coming back.
Yeah,
he had surgery last
He's missing
August.
all. Yeah, he'll miss all of this season. He'll be back at some point next year.
Next year. He'll be back, but it's
Yeah,
not
he had,
till next
he
year.
had Tommy John.
They waited for
Okay,
whatever
so
reason.
there-
They waited forever last year to get
That's-
Tommy John.
Okay, I'm not crazy. Yeah, I'm not crazy because I figured that they waited really long to get him Tommy John. Is there anybody from the minor leagues you want to see up here?
No, I think they all stink.
No,
Thanks
I think
for the
they're
call,
not ready
Graf.
for it.
Mick Abel's become horrible. Griff McGarry is not really good.
And by the way,
these were top prospects.
They were previous administration, but they
True.
were absolutely
True. Okay.
And people wouldn't have wanted them traded 2 years ago. No,
No, they
people
would not.
have
Yeah,
wanted
they
them
were
traded.
untouchable.
They were the ones that said they're going to be part of our rotation
Right.
forever.
And for those guys, there's an Aaron Nola and a Ranger Suarez, and
Correct.
a Christopher Sanchez
Yeah.
down there.
There
They
are, no
could
question.
work out as well. So it's
Yeah, and they don't
more-
have to be top prospects. Ranger Suarez wasn't a top 3 prospect.
I understand.
No,
They
No.
don't have to be top prospects to work
I'm not,
out.
I'm not saying they have to be. They have a better chance if they're a top prospect of working out.
absolutely.
That's the thing.
do.
There are percentages assigned to these things, and it's not all 100% trade, 0% workout. That's the argument because it's too black and white with the prospects for you, and we're trying to get you to see a little bit of a gray area.
No, you're never going to.
Well, we're going to keep trying.
You're never going to.
I'm going to fight the good fight.
By the way, MVPs from DH is twice. Both Ohtani, but that doesn't count. He's also pitched.
He's also pitched.
This is from
It's not the
MLB.com.
sa-
That
It's
doesn't
not the
count.
same. So I'm going to tell you, I don't think DH should be even eligible
Probably
for an
not.
MVP.
Edgar Martinez, by the way, who I thought
He
did
did
win.
not.
He finished third in voting in 1995.
Did he win a batting title?
Silver Slugger.
Oh, Silver
he won
Slugger.
multiple Silver
Okay,
Sluggers.
yes, multiple.
But he was third and probably should have won if we're being honest. But He batted .356 that year.
There's no way Ohtani should be without Harper.
That's insane.
If Harper plays in the last 72 games, if Harper plays 65 of them, 60 of them, he should be MVP, and it's not even a question.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, coming up next, we continue the conversation. Let's get to some more of the texts, not just about clothing, but also about today's show. We'll replay the Jim Bowden audio about what the Phillies might do come deadline time and whether or not you agree with the idea of trading any prospect. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. And for details, go to Bagster.com.
It is 9:29 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5. I mean, the clothing conversation it's even taken place off the air. Now we're talking about hats and how I don't wash the hat.
No, you
so
can't.
it goes
wash
against
that.
it goes against my clothing idea, but like.
But you're obsessed with this cleanliness and everything like this. But you will just put stank upon stank upon stank.
Well, I'm a ball player, John.
Oh yeah, you're a ball. I forgot.
I'm a ball player.
You ball players. I've already told you. Remember, that was on the top 10. The things that people from the Brian Dawkins golf outing.
Oh yeah,
the athletes say that they hate most about sports radio. The number one from the table was, well, I played the game.
Yeah,
I played a little ball in high school.
Well,
I played the game.
Well, they're not talking about us.
They're
not talking about Andy and I.
No, I say very.
You guys are true ball players.
Tongue in cheek.
Yes, you do. I know.
Come on, man. I brave the elements every Sunday. All right, so we've been talking about all kinds of stuff today, and one of the things that we got into was the Eagles because I'm driving around yesterday. It was my rehab stint before coming back on the air today. I just needed one. I'm like Bryce Harper. I just
maybe
need to
take
take
another one.
It's good to do that.
Maybe take another one. All right.
Yeah,
Mr. Vomit over there.
Mr. Trade every prospect's hell.
Because it's the smart thing to do.
All right. Anyways,
I'm driving around and I hear Kevin Cooney talking about how the Eagles will start, or he sees them starting, 1-3, if not 0-4. And I started having a show by myself in the car. I couldn't believe it.
No, can't believe it.
And he's about to go to the happiest place on earth, Walt Disney World.
He is.
But he decided to still call up. We got Kevin Cooney on the line.
Hi, Kev.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, guys. How are you?
I'm good.
I've heard I've been a topic this morning.
You have been. Your lunacy has been a topic this morning.
Well, okay. All right, so let's set the record straight.
Okay, please.
I never said 0-4. Not once. Not once,
Kevin,
did I say 0-4.
Kevin, I'm just going to ask Brendan Gunn's here, Haley's here, and I'm telling you, you absolutely did. You said 1-3, but you did said you could see 0-4. You absolutely did.
Well, look, John, in my mind, okay, one, I do think there's an adjustment period to new coordinators.
And that's fine. That's fine.
And you're starting basically as I mentioned yesterday, you're basically having 3 road games to start. One against a team that you are playing likely to be compared to as a potential NFC finalist, okay?
Correct.
Then you have a short week going to New Orleans, which is always a tough place for people to play. I know everybody thinks Derek Carr stinks. I don't think the Saints are a great team. I think that's a schedule trap that can happen, especially when you are in the middle of a period here where you're not really going to have a normal week of work coming into a season, okay? That's 2. 3, Todd Bowles has been the one defensive coordinator that keeps giving Jalen Hurts fits. His quarterback ranking against everybody else is great, except Todd Bowles. He was a 65 quarterback rating against Todd Bowles.
And last year, again, the playoff game, you're absolutely right, the regular season, he dominated them.
He also threw 2 picks in that game against Tampa, including a pick 6
in the rain. It was a gross game.
You were there.
I was down there. It was gross elements. But that playoff game, anybody who would have played quarterback for the Eagles that day would have been trash because that entire team was trash the final 7 weeks of that season.
But you don't see a way.
And oh, by the way, Kevin, with all the first time was when he was a rookie starter, second year in the league.
I mean, that
I expected them to get pummeled against Tom Brady and the Bucs that game, and they did.
And look, you can think that and everything, but I'm also looking at it as there's a lot of things. And guys, John, I heard you mention I've been in a lot of locker rooms in my life.
You have been.
One of the things that I know in a locker room is when you've gone through what the Eagles just went through last year, there is PTSD. And if you do go to Brazil, and if you do get beat by the Packers, PTSD for this team will kick in.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. But I don't believe it's going to happen. That's the bottom line. And again, there's been no Kellen Moore slow ramp up where people go, Kellen Moore's offense takes you 5-6 weeks to really start to feel like you understand it. That's not been the case.
And oh, by the way, Kevin, if they lose to the Packers 30-0, that's one thing. If it's like a 27-24 loss and we're all bummed out they lost week 1, everybody's going to say that they're going to come back and beat the Falcons week 2 at the Link.
And you were the one who said Kirk Cousins has put up good numbers against them.
Yeah, but I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of Kirk Cousins.
I don't see the Falcons winning that game.
All right, so they're 1-1. So you're already past your PTSD when you're 1-1, and now you have to go to New Orleans beat the Saints. I know New Orleans is a tough place to play, but come on,
and
man.
A short week.
And you and Kevin both have them losing to Green Bay already.
Yeah,
two of you. I do not. I absolutely do not. I think you both might change your mind by game day.
I will not.
Okay.
I'm convinced actually they lose by 2 touchdowns.
Oh my gosh.
Oh jeez. No, I don't think it's
John, this defense, I think at the start of this year is going to be bad.
The Packers defense isn't much better.
No, but I don't trust this pass rush.
Okay.
I don't think this pass rush is that good. I think this pass rush is going to. I think the scheme adjustments that Vic Fangio is going to have after basically going through the chaos of the Desai and Patricia years. To me, I just see this as being a recipe for.
But here's the. Go ahead, John.
Go on. Do something for me.
Start.
You're going to the happiest place on earth. Yeah. I want you to lap it up, and I think you're going to come home, and I think you're going to feel differently when you come home. I think you're going to feel happier.
I hope so, because 1 and 3 is making me depressed.
I think one thing, guys, in my mind, and this is the old journalist in me. And by the way, the dog is acting up in the background.
Hello, dog.
I'm sorry. The one thing that's the old journalist in me is the fact that you can tell when something is over. And for me, Nick Sirianni was over last year, and the Eagles just haven't acknowledged it because of pride or stubbornness. And I do think, I know we all think that these players want to have Nick Sirianni succeed. But I do think that they don't trust him to handle a big moment.
I think these players want to succeed.
But here's the thing: you have them then going 9-4 after that. So is it they fired Nick Sirianni and whoever the interim head coach is going to turn them around?
I think Kellen Moore will be the head coach here by week 6.
Dude, if they fire Sirianni, I don't think there's a great turnaround. I think all of a sudden there's a bunch of shambles because then that means somebody else is they're not 1-3 and losing every single game by a field goal. That means Jalen Hurts is probably not playing well. And if Jalen Hurts is not playing well, do you think he's going to all of a sudden turn it up a notch after Sirianni gets fired?
But I also think that Jalen Hurts has no respect for this head coach, and ultimately, the decision's going to be made. We got to preserve the quarterback, and that means getting rid of the head coach.
And if they get rid of Sirianni, you think all of a sudden he's going to turn the season around against the schedule that then gets much more difficult?
I think it will turn around, yeah. I think they're going to be better once the season goes along. And I said this to John. One, I think they're going to benefit from an ultra-weak division. This division is going to be awful. I think the one team that makes a leap in this division is Washington compared to Dallas is going to take a step back. I think the Eagles are at best 10-7.
The Chinese restaurant in Epcot, you'll love it. It's excellent. It's excellent.
I appreciate the dining tips, John.
There you go, buddy.
Kevin, you enjoy yourself down there, all right?
Enjoy yourself.
All right? Okay.
Thank you.
22-hour train trip.
Kevin Cooney. I would do it.
The only thing, I don't know. I don't know if I would or not. Because I would just say I can be in a plane, I can go, and I can just be there. I can be there. And I've never been to Disney by plane, I don't think.
Okay, well,
maybe I did once because we would just drive. But that's 22 hours in a train. I'm not sure that I would.
Yeah, I mean, look, would I rather get down there in like 2.5 hours via flight? Like, yeah, of course I would rather do that. But you get to see things. It's kind of cool. It's a different experience. And if you want to bring your car, because I know people that
he
have
didn't
done
bring
that
his car, but I got it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You want to do that?
All right. That was Kevin Cooney. I hope he enjoys himself down in Florida. Let's go to Nick in Riverside. Nick, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yeah, how we doing, guys?
What's up, Nick? What's up, buddy?
Well, I was calling about the Dodgers and the Phillies, but now I'm hearing him saying that we're starting 1-3. I think it's kind of ridiculous.
We all do, but Kevin may end up spiking the football on all of us.
Yeah, but then I looked at the Eagles' schedule. I just feel completely different. How do you guys feel?
No, I think the Eagles are starting 3-1 to start.
I think they're starting 3-1 into the bye week. But Andrew and I believe there will be a different loss.
Yeah, I have them losing week 1 to the Packers, and I think a lot of it is because you're starting out in Brazil, following everything that happened last year.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
But then they beat the Falcons, Saints, and Bucks.
See, I'm looking. I have them going 13-4. The only losses I can see maybe are the Bengals, the Ravens, either the Steelers or the Jaguars.
How about the Rams? You could see a Rams loss on the road, can't you? Look, put it this way. I could not find it yesterday, and Nick, I tried to do this after working with Kevin
Thanks for the call, man.
He says 10-7.
I don't see 7 losses.
I could not find 7 losses.
No.
And maybe that's ignorant on my part, because last year they fell apart. I cannot find 7 losses on that.
Neither do I. All right, so coming up, we have the Key 3, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3, followed by our crossover, Bob Cooney. But real quick, I needed to bring this up.
What's that?
I to do this earlier. Did you see what this guy Tyler did with the Wawa receipts?
Oh, where he took, like, if you had receipt number 331.
Yeah, 0 through 999 accomplished.
He had to wait.
You didn't see this?
No.
Yes.
So there's a guy, Tyler. His tweet now has 42,000 likes.
Bro, that would have been in headlines. I had no idea.
We love you, Tyler.
So he tweets this out yesterday at 3:20 in the afternoon. So you were probably in your sick slumber.
Sleep.
He said, I finally collected every single Wawa order slip number 0 to 999. This took years. And he put them all out from 0 to 999.
Okay, you have to wait then. You have to see. That can't happen by just.
I don't think you'd know unless you're asking the person in front of you, hey, what order number did you get?
Before someone hits the screen in front of you, if somebody puts in their order, they put it in, you see their number. It says 8.
Or also you can hear them calling out the order.
No.
So
when
you
you
know
order.
generally where you're at.
Yeah, but when you order, if you're in front of me at the screen, you put your order in, and you hit order, it'll say order number 822.
Right, so are you going to...
So you're looking for, I need 823, I'm going to wait. I need 823. I'm going to wait and go behind this person.
And I find it amazing because people are asking whether or not they're all his or did he trade.
He had to pick some up off the floor.
I imagine.
Yeah, there's a basket full of them.
It's just like
there's a basket full.
You can't just reach into the basket.
Yes, you can. When the basket's just there, the trash basket, after it's already been checked by the person.
I have more faith in Tyler from the little I know about him being this tweet that he wouldn't dig through the trash.
No, you know what? I believe they're all his. And you know why? He is now taking a picture in front of every Wawa that's open.
Okay, that's
so you got to
crazy.
travel to Florida.
Tyler, we would love to talk to you.
I respect the grind for Tyler. All right?
It's a fascinating subject. I think it's a Criminal Minds episode also.
Absolutely. Oh, no, this guy's got body. All right, we got the Key 3 coming up next. Also, our crossover from Kevin Cooney to Bob Cooney. Right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
The fit and the timing of getting a player his age is immaculate.
Thursday morning. Welcome back, Andrew.
Hi. It's 9:47. Got Connor telling me, hurry up. You weren't even in your own studio.
Yeah, why not? Because I was out there trying to get you.
Well, Bob's asking me about the trip. It's very nice of him to be doing that. So
That's
I was
great.
talking
If
to
only
Bob.
there was like a 3-minute segment that we were doing where you could talk to Bob.
Oh, we'll do that in 3 minutes because it's time now for the Key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
It's pretty easy to come back to a sports scene like Philadelphia right now. Like, part of me was jealous that while I was gone, you guys got the incredible stories, everything that built up to what the Sixers did, and we'll dive into every single signing that they have made so far. The Phillies have the announcement of the 7 All-Stars. You had the Phillies-Braves series to react to. How was it while I was gone? I need to know before I even give you my opinion. Was this place buzzing or what?
I think the excitement over the Sixers was huge. There was a ton of great energy about the Sixers. I think it was the idea of what Daryl Morey would put together. I did not think that when we talked about the moves that potentially going to be made and everything, I didn't think Daryl Morey was going to be able to put together as many good pieces as he did. I see 4 upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Tobias Harris is gone. You look at it, you go, to your point, John, they improved basically everywhere.
I think Daryl Morey has over-delivered. I was skeptical. I said I was skeptical because I'm going, you got a lot of money. What are you going to be able to do? I believe this roster, if someone had told me this 2 weeks ago, I would have said, you're dreaming that all those dominoes are going to fall into place.
Right.
They did. Daryl Morey, touche. You were right.
He's done an exceptional job. The Phillies need to spend big at the deadline. I'm just going to say it right now.
Need.
Because the window is freaking here.
The fact that you say need, to me, immediately makes me go, nope.
Okay, so
need.
I am a greedy millennial son of a bitch. I don't care. Give me more, and there are players that are available, and you have the bullets in your chamber to get players because of the prospects that you finally have that you haven't had for like a decade.
That's such a great sentence. Because can I write that down? You have prospects in your system that you finally have that you haven't had for a decade. Just note that.
Okay.
Because it is something where this organization has been hampered and hasn't been able to sustain winning because of that fact. So now with the best record in baseball, people are going to say, empty the coffers. Let's get rid of it. No, this is what you did. The idea is to build a system, build a pyramid of talent.
Okay.
Now, if you take from other levels of the talent, I'm fine. You start telling me you're taking 2 or 3 of the crown jewels, bull crap. I don't want any part.
I saw a tweet yesterday from one of our great listeners. And, I just tweeted out that I'm coming back today. And he said, well, they're still not as good as the Celtics. And I can't worry about that just yet. It's
don't
only
worry
July
about it right
9th.
now.
They still have a lot of time to be able to improve this roster.
Are they better than everybody else in the East?
Yes.
I think so.
They are, because
I think so.
you have
Again,
Joel
on
Embiid
paper.
and Tyrese Maxey already,
Right.
and you got better with Paul George. You got better with all the other pieces that you acquired. And for anybody that thinks maybe Caleb Martin isn't as good, he literally turned down $15 to $20 million. And I think he probably turned it down, not because he wants to live in the city of Philadelphia. He probably wants to play for a winner. And if a player in the NBA, it's one thing for us radio lunatics to look at paper on July 9th and try to talk about whether or not the Sixers are one of the top 2 teams of the Eastern Conference. It's another thing for a player in the league that talks to players, that watches film, that studies the game so much more than we do. For him to look at this roster and look at what's going on in Philadelphia to go, I want to go there for $20 million less?
That's a really nice acquisition.
Right.
One thing I know with the history of Vic Fangio, when Vic Fangio goes into a situation, the one thing that he brings, he may not bring you an over-the-top performance defensively.
Right.
But he brings you stability and a level of professionalism and accomplishment that is much more in line of what this team needs.
This defense desperately needs it.
I think they can go to a Super Bowl if the defense is just good.
So far, you're starting to see, as you said, John, the vision of Daryl Morey come together, and it's one that should excite every single Sixers fan.
Sure.
The offseason is not done yet. All right, that's the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show. It was good to be back. And it's also good to see Bob Cooney again. Hi, Bobby. Good morning.
Hi, Andrew. Good to see you. Welcome back.
You sound thrilled to see me again.
I am
Thanks.
thrilled to see you. I am. It's good.
Why do
All
you
good.
sound so down? What's wrong?
A lot of business going on behind the scenes, Andrew. We're trying to take care of getting guests ready. You know what guests are. Those are people that you have on.
We usually
that,
have like 5 or 6
find
of
some
them.
information. I was a little surprised that I didn't hear very many guests
We didn't
today.
have any guests. We had
I'll
Kevin
stick
Cooney.
up for my identical twin cousin.
Yes.
What did you say you don't see on the schedule? How many losses?
7.
I thought you didn't do W's and L's.
No, I don't see seven.
Nice. There it is.
I have them winning the division, and I do not see that they could be. And I also have them being one of the best teams in the NFL.
You did W's and L's.
No. So I know if I see a team as one of the best teams in the NFL, they haven't lost.
My guess is John would say, I don't think 10 wins is enough to win this division.
Yes.
And you have them winning the division.
Yes.
Without doing W's and L's.
Yes, exactly.
See, just because I was gone for a week, I still know how your brain operates.
How the brain operates. Yes.
Wow.
I think they will be
3.5 years. I didn't get that.
Bobby, what do you got on the show today?
Good on you. Well, we got a lot. Between 11 and 12, the Sixers are having a media scrum down there.
Yeah.
With Andre Drummond, with Kelly Oubre, and with Caleb Martin. One, maybe two, maybe all three are going to be joining us after they're done their media scrum.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, they're going to give us a call. Oubre, it looks like, is definitely penciled in. We're going to try to get the other ones in also. So we got that going on. Amy Fadul is down there at the practice facility, but she's going to be with us also. So she'll be with us from pretty much all day today.
Okay.
We're going to see if we can get audio from some of the media scrum, so all that's going on. It is. It's you can't imagine. Well, you can. You guys know all the work that goes into trying to get some stuff done. But yeah, so thanks to the Sixers for being cooperative.
That's awesome.
And so it looks like we're going to have a lot of Sixers talk
save some
today.
guests for the rest of us.
Yeah, come on, man.
Oh, you're well enough to speak. Nice. Okay.
We'll look
I
forward to
wasn't sure.
We'll share some of the best stuff tomorrow with you.
Yes. Now, real
that
quick,
works
because we
beautifully.
don't have much time left. Dude, what is wrong with these guys that I work with that they don't wash their clothes before wearing them?
Look, I do what I do. I don't, whatever. I would never grab something off of a hanger, sitting in a store or whatever, and just throw it on my body without washing it first. That's just who I'm. I'm not afraid. I've never been afraid of a pair of jeans or a shirt or a disease or anything. It's just I want it to be mine, and the way it's mine is I wash it first.
It's your laundry detergent.
Can I put it to both of you, though? One of the worst things you can ever put on your head, on anywhere, I just gave it away, is a hat. If you don't wash a hat.
I always wash my hats.
You do? Oh, so you do what? I know I wash hats too. But if you don't wash
a hat,
I put it in the washing machine. You take it out. You take it out. You put it on your head right away. Seriously, put it on backwards.
Okay.
And it forms to the shape of your head even better. So yeah, I wash my hats all the time.
I mean, that does look like a fresh hat that you got on.
And
I'm not kidding you. I wash them all the time.
Sweat stains and all that kind. But taking a hat off the shelf and putting it on your head.
Well, I don't do that.
It's one of the most uncleanly things you can. And that's one of the most uncleanly things you do. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join our friends at H&H Heating and Air Conditioning. They support the American Association for Cancer Research. Go to aacr.org/fanatic today. Do it, because cancer research saves lives.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening today. It was good to be back. I guess I have to do it again tomorrow.
3 more days.
Oh, it's not Friday yet. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Make sure you listen to Bob Cooney Midday Show with Ray Dunn and, of course, Amy from the Sixers practice facility. They got a lot in store.